What's up, y'all? Yo, Rally Towel Sports live
Hello.
with you on a Wednesday night. It feels very odd.
It's unique. It is Thanksgiving
Wednesday,
Eve.
that's right. Wednesday night at 9 p.m. feels like we're doing it on a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock right now to
Yeah,
me. I have
we're.
no idea where I'm at.
What's up, Rob? Rob, jump in the chat. Appreciate you joining. Amber, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
Thanks for liking the stream, sharing the video. Love you guys. So it's Thanksgiving. Well, it's Thanksgiving Eve. Biggest bar night of the year. As you guys know, fans of the show, I bring my lunch pail to work. Bring my lunch pail to work often. Typically, we have a nice beer that I enjoy on the program. Got a little classy tonight. Got my
Oh boy. A
got
bag
a
of cubes only means one thing.
bag of ice cubes, and it doesn't mean I have an upset tummy. I did a couple days ago, but I no longer. I got the Rona, so we'll get into that later. I'm sure. Rob saying not a Vizzy. Take notes, Todd. It's not a Vizzy.
All right. Here's the deal. If he's gonna call me out like that, if you don't mind, give me 2 minutes to
Go on.
prepare a.
I'll entertain our guests while you get yourself
Okay.
something.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's a glass of Weller's Antique coming in the very
Weller.
near future.
Well. What do you know?
Well,
I just
well,
so
well, give
happen
me
to have a nice little bottle of Woodford Reserve. And I say little
beautiful.
bottle because it is a little bottle. I've got a very large bottle downstairs. But I figured if I brought the big bottle up here and then just so happened to consume most, if not all of it, that might be an issue for some people. So we're going to do a little Woodford tonight. I hope you got all of those glug glug glugs. Rob, I am a bourbon man. I am a big time bourbon fan. I had the privilege about a little over a year ago of touring the Buffalo Trace, and I did get my hands on some Blantons there at Buffalo Trace. Now, if you know anything about bourbon, you know Blanton's. It's not the most expensive bourbon that you can find, but it's a fan favorite. Everybody loves Blanton. It's a smooth, tasty bourbon. So if you ever get the opportunity to procure a bottle of Blanton's, Blantons, Blanton's, do it. Woodford, you can find Woodford everywhere, but it is one of my favorites. It's a smooth drinker. I'm doing a disservice by putting it on ice, but just for the sake of my sanity tonight and sobriety, I think. Put a couple cubes in there. Plus, one thing you might not know about bourbon, maybe you do. The water oxidizes, puts oxygen into the bourbon and makes it a smoother drink. So that's why some people will put little pipettes of water in their bourbon. I'm just learning you guys up tonight. So got Rob's stamp of approval there for the Blantons. I appreciate that. Thank you, Rob. Hope everyone's having a lovely Thanksgiving Eve. As mentioned when we got on the stream, I had, well, I guess technically still have coronavirus. I got COVID. I think I probably got it last weekend at some point. But yeah, started feeling really crummy. If you guys caught the show on Thursday of last week, I looked like a zombie. I still don't look great, but I looked like a zombie on Thursday. I thought it was because of all the running up and down to Cincinnati that I had been doing. Felt really tired, really burned out. Found out one of our friends tested positive for COVID-19. So I was like, ah, fuck. So I went and got tested. I had it. It sucked. Let me just tell you, it's not fun. It's I guess it was, for me being vaccinated, it was kind of just like a rough cold. And maybe I'm just a big baby, but I'll tell you, man, just the like sinus pressure, headaches, congested nose. You know, then one day is the stomach, the other day is the head. I couldn't smell or taste. That is the most fucking annoying thing on the planet. That, like, if you want to torture people and extract information out of them, take away their smell and taste. Do it.
I can't imagine just just doing the daily things and not being able to just
So
get a nice waft of, for Rob, if you're still viewing, of Weller Antique.
there he is.
That's a very, for those of you watching, that is a very high class bottle. Um, I'm only breaking it out because
To
I don't get
defend
to
your
go out on
manhood.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, well, a little bit of my own personal honor, but also this is the first Thanksgiving, and I can't. Let's call it a decade that I haven't been boozing with my pals or my spouse at a bar somewhere.
Well, you are just not at a bar. Cheers, buddy.
That's right. That's it.
It's been quite a few years since I've had the ability to do that, being that my children are 3 now. But yeah, it was always a tradition to be hungover on Thanksgiving.
Right. And
For
I
the
also have to get up at 6 a.m. to drive down to Cincinnati tomorrow. So let's make sure old
Mary's
old
driving.
old Daddy Todd does. Yeah, me and Declan are going to get real comfortable in the back seat of a Chevy Traverse
There you go, big
uh,
dog.
if I have more than one of these glasses tonight. So cheers to all of you as well.
So yeah, I mean, back to the real quick, and then we'll move on. But the smell thing, the taste thing, I pretty much ate for texture for like the better part of like 3 or 4 days. I ate, like, it's coming back now. Like I can taste this bourbon now. Like I'm not just drinking it just to get the buzz. I do enjoy the taste of bourbon. But cheers, Rob. But I was like, I would get like cold salads. I'd DoorDash like a nice cold, Caesar salad, just the crunch of the salad and the croutons. That's why I was eating cereal. I was really, I would just Cheerios, just the crunch of the Cheerios. Just that's pretty much all I was eating, is just textured foods. Because there's no taste whatsoever.
So crazy.
I ate relatively healthy though, because like I was like, why would I eat that leftover Halloween candy? There's no,
Yeah,
I'm not
don't
getting
waste it.
anything out of that. So
Yeah, that's not you're not eating a bunch of M&Ms for the fucking nutrients. You're eating them
exactly,
because you love them. So
yeah,
you might as well eat all the Brussels sprouts, asparagus, and broiled chicken that your little
exactly.
heart can desire.
And it was really weird. Like I could get like flavor profiles. Like so I had, some toast with some honey on it. I could taste the sweetness of the honey, but it didn't taste like honey. Right? I could tell that it was something sweet that I was eating. I put a little
That's
sriracha.
so weird,
I know,
though.
it's so weird. I put a little sriracha on my, finger and licked it, and I could get the heat, the spicy, but I couldn't get the sriracha flavor. Oranges, I could taste
Oh,
the tart, but not the orange flavor. It was so bizarre. Add that on. I was, solo with my kids. Katie was out of town on a, business trip, and um, when I got COVID, thank God we live near our, in-laws. They took the kids, they still have them. Katie's there now, and I'm by myself in the house. So some things that a bachelor needs to his nose for that I didn't know, I learned. Um, you ever forget about a load of laundry that's in the washing machine? And then you go down to it and you open it up, you're like, ooh, kind of mildewy. I need to wash that again to get rid of that mildew scent.
right.
You can't fucking tell. You have no idea. You don't know if that's mildew. So what do? You fucking wash it again,
Yeah,
because
you don't trust it.
I don't know
You're
if I
like,
smell.
what time is it? Yeah,
I
right.
don't know. Same thing with the washing, the dishwasher. I've, started a dishwasher, got sick for 2 days, left it in the dishwasher. I don't know. Fucking wash it again. Things that coffee. I drank coffee out of a need. I didn't get the nice. Oh yes, that's a nice. It's gonna cozy up with my nice cup of coffee today. Nope, I'm drinking a bitter hot liquid for fuel, and
Right.
that's
You're
it.
just you're just making sure that you can exist in the world.
Pretty much, yeah,
Yeah,
entirely
yeah,
accurate.
it's just for caffeination.
Just to be
No, that's
mobile.
well, I'm happy to hear that you are feeling better, and hopefully you can have a beautiful reunion with your children and your wife sooner rather than later.
Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be solo Thanksgiving, which
Oh,
sucks. I've been FaceTiming the kids and stuff, talking to them and talking to Katie, but I have it planned out. I got some food delivered from the grocery store. I've been drinking Powerades like crazy. But I got a nice little strip steak. Got some Brussels sprouts and mashed potatoes. And hey, happy Thanksgiving, Rob. Come back later if you can. Um, but and then I got some red wine, not just any red wine, mind you, Snoop Dogg's red wine, California red. So,
Ooh, I like that. What is Snoop Dogg's red wine called?
ooh, I'll post it tomorrow or tonight or
Yeah,
something like that. I can't remember. It's got a name. Actually, I'll just look it up right now. It's got something. It's got some kind of name.
I just want it to be like the LBC Merlot,
Oh, that.
right? Something along those
Let
lines.
me see here. It is called.
You know who should make a wine is Fat Joe. Fat Joe
It's
comes
called
out with them just off
19
the top.
Crimes. Snoop Cali Red.
Oh, that's oh nice. Okay. So for working in a grocery store, you spend your time in the wine aisle if you want to get away from the heathens during the holidays.
Sure.
The people that are just constantly screaming at you because there's no more crispy onions to put on top of green bean casserole that you're buying on the day before Thanksgiving. So
Prepare,
shame on you
asshole.
for doing that. Right. Shame on you for doing that.
Not
Don't
no
yell
no
at me
no no not
anymore.
necessarily shame on you because people forget. Shame on you for yelling at the store clerk. Like fuck you, man. Like
Yeah. Yeah. We got into a very in-depth conversation about that at work because I drove by a Kroger on my way to work, and this was 9:15, somewhere around that ballpark,
right.
and there were no parking spots in this Kroger. I mean, like zero. And I just know every associate that is working in that store or was working in the store at that time wanted to literally be anywhere else in the entire world. And I'm talking like walking on hell's coals than working in that grocery store dealing with the shittiest of people because the day before Thanksgiving brings out the worst kind of people.
Yeah.
8 years
Well,
of experience
yeah, I
is
mean
is talking about that.
and I mean all these people let's I mean no one's having fun in there, right? The people that are
No.
shopping aren't having fun. They've got their, brothers, cousins, uncles, little kid that's going to come over and probably break something tomorrow. They're going to have to tolerate probably mildly racist conversations um, going on at their dinner table. Like, how many times have you been at a family function around the holidays and just been like, God damn it? Too
it's
many.
it's been it's been a really long time for me because my family gatherings are so small on my side. And on the other side of that, Mary's family's gatherings are so my Thanksgiving with Mary's family on Saturday will be with let's call it 55 people.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So there's not an opportunity for racist conversation because you don't have to be involved in it. You
So,
know the people
what's
that
that?
could
See ya.
yeah, I'm gonna go grab 6 beers from the fridge on the
Mary's
other side
calling
of the
me.
house. Yeah. Declan needs me.
Yeah.
I just walk away, right? Problem solved. And anytime before that, it's just like, what'd you say? Oh, sorry. One of my four brother-in-laws asked me a question across the room. I'm gonna go walk over there and talk to him.
And not be around you right now.
Right. It's perfect. And Mary's family is great, but it's great. You can't ask for anything better. You talk to people for 35, 40 seconds. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. See you later. And you could just sit by yourself and nobody realizes it because there's so many people that you could just be antisocial for whatever period of time.
You'll
So
have
like
football. You'll have football too.
that's
Just
exactly
not
it's
now. I'm
great.
watching the game. Shh.
Yeah. And
Hold on,
and
it's
Mary's
third and
family
seven.
is divided. There's Ohio State fans, there's
Oh,
Michigan fans, and Notre
oh,
Dame
oh!
fans. It's
Beautiful,
magical. It's
beautiful.
magical.
That is
Yeah.
just
So
that's something. Just a lot of entitled people in one room. Bruce
Bruce
with
said, "What a sexy duo." Hey, so first of all,
Bruce.
to those of you that are viewing, thanks for watching two bearded guys wearing hats and glasses talk about a bunch of random shit. So far, zero sports have been discussed,
It's true.
and I'm having the best time of my life.
It's beautiful.
So, Bruce, you can't see because it's blurred out. There's a little bourbon in this glass here. This is for you.
We're saucing tonight, Bruce, because we don't have to work tomorrow.
We do not.
All right. So, Nick, Thank you for liking the video. What's up, brother? Happy Thanksgiving. Um, let's go. Let's cover week 11. It was another crazy week. Nick with a comment here.
It's
This is a sports podcast? Question mark. It
so
is. It's
surprise. So surprise everybody. If you are a true fan, you know that this is a podcast where you can come and throw your sneaky links in, and we will publicly advertise those for you. So if you do want to drop in a hey, check out my booby picture, we're
Did
here
that
for it.
happen already?
Remember? No,
Oh, I'm not on. I don't have the YouTube stream up, and I was like,
no.
Did it
I'm
happen
just talking
again?
like first YouTube stream of the entirety of the podcast. Sneaky links,
Yeah.
magical.
Strippers that no, it was come watch strippers with no clothes. That was
Yeah,
the link.
strippers with no clothes.
A little
The clown
redundant.
has
Strippers with no clothes. I think that goes without saying. Um, but yeah, it's a sports podcast. It's also just a life podcast. Really, we just talk about life and the things that happen in it.
yeah.
Anyway,
You're,
so week
you're
11
coming to
was
you're you're coming to us for bullshit. You're not coming to us to think.
yeah, precisely. So we got people strolling on into the stream. If this is your first time joining Line to Gain, welcome. Thank
Welcome.
you. I'm Corey. That's Todd. We drink
Good
alcohol
day.
and talk about things. Bruce with a comment. It's a chill cast. That's a great way to describe it.
I love that.
So week
And
11 in the
we
NFL.
should advertise the podcast that way from now on.
It's a chill cast, bro.
Chill sports podcast.
It's chill.
It's too much.
I mean, it's
It's
chill.
like when
Man.
Michael Scott makes a headline. Just it's going to be too much, but we'll soften it
This
up a little bit.
podcast is chill. Two guys hanging out, doing things, and you watch and talk every week. Anyway, week 11. Absolute. Another crazy week in the NFL. We're going to go over these games. If you got anything to say about it, Todd, then you can chime on in. The first one, Thursday night game, Patriots versus Falcons. We all three took the Pats. Patriots look like I don't know, one of the best teams in the AFC. Are we ready to say that right now? I mean,
look, there is one rookie quarterback that stands out among the rest, and that is Mac Jones.
It's true. It's true. You could also argue that he walked into the best situation. I will put that out there. And the only reason I put that out there is because I haven't heard anybody put that out there yet. No one has made the comment like, well, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is struggling in Jacksonville because Jacksonville's a shitty football team.
Sure.
Mac Jones, obviously injuries, and the Jets are a dumpster fire. Trey Lance hasn't really gotten to start.
Davis Mills.
Yeah. Justin Fields. We knew the Bears were going to be pretty bad. We kind of knew, Patriots were kind of middle of the road, maybe slightly, less than middle of the road. But no one's really commented on that. But that being said, they're doing it in a very Patriot way, and I don't mean that with any puns intended on that. No real stars on offense, solid defense, and minimal mistakes.
Right, it's a full platoon on both sides of the ball too. Besides Udon, really that's the only defensive standout. And you get a mix of 4 running backs and 6 wide receivers and 3 tight ends a game, which is good. Which I think actually fits into Mac Jones's mold a little bit better than anybody else's mold on like any other rookie quarterback, because Mac Jones isn't going to go out on the field, aka Bobby Hill, if Hank Hill had his dream come true. If he's in a situation where it plays to his strengths. When he was at Alabama, he had Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, two of the most athletic wide receivers in college football last year. So yeah, of course those guys were just going to be open when they were healthy.
Right.
But now he doesn't have necessarily these big, high, like star weapons, and he's just spreading the love to everybody. I mean, really, his biggest weapon is Hunter Henry, who is a tight end.
Yeah, first few weeks it was Nelson Aguilar,
right,
and Kendrick Bourne.
I mean, right, just 2 guys that have found no homes anywhere, comfortably at least.
Right.
And he's It's just the Patriots, like you said, they're playing into every part of their strength as a franchise over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Just taking advantage of situational role guys, putting them in the right spot at the right time, and just calling the right plays. And Mac Jones is figuring out how to manage the clock.
And are we on? I mean, dare we say, are we on a collision course? Like, are we about to get to Bill Belichick, Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? I'm not ready to say that just yet, but everybody, well, the Bills, they got to get past the Bills. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They don't. They're in first place right now in the
Right.
AFC East right now. The
Right.
Patriots are in first place, and I believe it's
One more
by
time. Say it one more. Say it one more time
the
because that's crazy.
Patriots are in first place in the AFC East by a half a game right now. They've played one more game than Buffalo. The Bills at 6-4, Patriots at 7-4, Dolphins 4-7, Jets at 2-8. None of those teams are even competing really for a playoff spot at this point. I think it's easy to say, not easy to say. I think it's fair to say both of those teams are probably at this point, if I had to bet, both of those teams are probably going to be at the playoffs. Now let's take a look at what the
Right.
Patriots have coming up, though. Let's take a look at that because it's relevant. They have the Titans at home this Sunday. Then they go on the road and play the Bills on Monday Night Football. They have a bye, which is a very late bye, by the way.
Yeah, that's a week 15 bye.
Crazy. Crazy. Um, Let me make sure this is accurate. Yeah, they do. They have Monday night, and then they play on Thursday Night Football against the Colts. Or no, maybe that's Sunday Night Football. I apologize. Let me just make sure I'm not putting my foot in my mouth here. So they play on Monday night, and then yes, they play on Thursday night that next week. So it's not a bye. I'm sorry. It's just the way the schedule kind of pans out. I
Okay.
apologize. They go from a Monday night, and then they don't play until Thursday night. So that would be a bye. Yes, it would. It's a very it is a
Yeah, that's a
bye.
bye week.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah, you
bye.
get
I'm
a, like a
sorry. Yeah,
you get a it's the shortest bye week
it
possible.
is
So
the
yeah, it's a bye
shortest bye
week.
week possible. Yeah, but a very late bye in the schedule, which can be
Right.
helpful to recharge before the
Absolutely.
playoff push. So Titans, Bills, Colts, Bills again, and then they finish Jags, Dolphins. So a very soft ending, which could be huge for them in terms of positioning themselves in the seeding because there's only one team that gets a bye this year. As of last year as well, but the
Mhm.
number one seed in each conference is the only one that gets a bye.
Right.
Bruce saying he's going to catch us later. Bruce, appreciate you dropping by, buddy. Hopefully you can hop back on later. But yeah, I mean that's not just a cakewalk. Those next 4 games, the next month of football for
No.
the New England Patriots are going to be tough, especially those 2 matchups against the Bills. Those are going to be tons of
Right.
fun. That's going to be awesome. Might be the best Monday Night Football of the game there. Monday Night Football game of the year there on the 6th of December. So that should be a lot of fun. So we'll see how the AFC East shakes out. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot more competitive than I had initially thought. Next, we have the Bears taking on hosting the Baltimore Ravens. No Lamar Jackson, which we didn't know when we picked, by the way.
Right.
Yet all 3 of us took the Ravens. All 3 of us were correct. Andy Dalton did his damnedest to try and help out the Bengals and beat the Ravens, but it just didn't happen.
Yep. So I don't know how closely you follow, but there is a very small but mighty group of Tyler Huntley followers in the Baltimore area. And then he came out and was fairly flat, but they were able to beat the Bears. So we'll see. We will not see Justin Fields for at least, from what I read today, the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Dalton is getting the nod on Sunday, very
Against the
likely the following
Lions
Sunday.
on
Right.
Thursday. It's Thursday. It's
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
tomorrow
Thursday. It's tomorrow.
at
Tomorrow. Yeah.
noon.
Thank you.
We got football.
But Lamar Jackson, literally, that was a 11 a.m. decision for a 1 p.m. game.
Yeah.
So Tyler Huntley doesn't really get the opportunity. I mean, I think you need a full 24 hours to mentally get your prepare for any sort of professional game.
And not only that, I
And
mean, during the week, who's taking all the first team reps? Lamar.
right,
So
right,
that chemistry that you build, and most of this chemistry is built over a long period of time, but there's a little, the adjustments. Hey, do this week, make your cut here, or when this guy shows this, I need you to fake here and go that way. Those little nuances, but especially between a wide receiver and a quarterback, those are accomplished over the period of weeks practice and doing routes and maybe staying late after practice and running a couple of other things to get on the same page. Tyler Huntley had no ability to do any of that this week.
nope, nope. Just hey, man, Lamar's out. He's got an unknown illness.
Next man up.
Yeah.
What do you think he had?
Yeah.
What do you think he had? So they were there in Chicago, correct? Or was this in Baltimore? This was in Chicago?
In Chicago.
So it was in Chicago. Did Lamar just
He
get
traveled too.
Did he just fucking party? Like, did he just rage? Chicago has 4 a.m. bars, so I'm just saying. Like,
Right. So he was questionable beginning on Thursday evening. So right when we were going live and after we had made predictions, I was looking through my fantasy lineup because I have
Right.
Lamar Jackson in one of my leagues. And at 9:57 p.m., there was a report saying that he had a unknown illness, but it was not COVID. And then Saturday was like, hey, or by Saturday it's like, hey, he's not getting any better. In fact, he's worse. He
Yeah.
traveled with the team, but he traveled solo. He traveled from Baltimore to Chicago solo
Right.
on his own.
Right.
And by the time he got to Chicago Saturday evening, according to some tweets here and there, the dude was just puking his guts up for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So like a stomach bug. It was not bronchitis. They tested him for bronchitis. They tested him for pneumonia, all sorts of stuff. The big respiratory things that would impact an athlete more.
Mm-hmm.
The guy just had a stomach bug, and then maybe it happened on a wet wild Wednesday, right? He had too much fun, ate the questionable chimichangas from the food truck at 3 a.m. Next thing you know, Lamar Jackson can't play on Sunday. That's what I like to think happened.
I like it. I think it's plausible. Not necessarily confirmed if we're going Mythbusters here, but plausible. So anyway, all three of us took Baltimore on this one. All three of us were correct, and you might notice we're light tonight. We're light. We're missing one. So this is to Bobby, who isn't dead, by the way. I realize now that as I'm saying this, it's like, is Bobby, like, is he okay? Yes, Bobby's fine. He's playing host right now. He has friends over, which I don't know what that is, but he has friends. There's some interesting dynamic apparently between multiple humans.
Well, I'm not there, so boys are egg on my face. Bobby, I hope you're not watching because that was a complete and total joke.
I hope that he is streaming this at his get together right now.
Just on his big ass TV in his living room.
We're classy.
Watch two of my best guys talk sports. Immediately turns it on. Yeah, that fucking Bobby guy didn't invite me to his friend's Thanksgiving. I'm such a lush.
All right. Moving on to the next game. Another one that we were all three aligned on. This one, however, got a different result for us. I'm talking, of course, of the Packers at the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers fell short to the Skull Nation, Viking Nation. Mike Zimmer, in all his wisdom, led the Vikings to a victory over the Packers.
I mean, offensively, this was a great game. And also, Kirk Cousins is quietly kind of crushing it this year.
Is he? I haven't noticed.
Yeah. So, here, let me give you a little...
Give me a taste.
Little stat line here. So, 2021 season stats, 2,775 yards, 21 touchdowns, and only 2 picks. Tied for first.
How many of those were against Cincinnati? One?
One.
He threw an interception against Cincinnati?
Week 1. Yeah.
Wow.
He hasn't thrown an interception since week 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Owen Wilson.
Wow. And also, Justin Jefferson, welcome back. because he went absolutely
He's
bananas
elite.
against the
He's
Packers.
elite. I'm sorry. He's a
Um,
top 10 wide receiver in the league
did
easily.
you see what Devontae Adams said about him?
I just want to give him this real quick. There you
Ooh,
go,
that's
ladies and
nice.
there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Devontae Adams said Justin Jefferson has to have been in the league at least 6 years, was what he
Yeah,
said.
yeah. He said something like when I watch him, it's like I'm watching a 6-year vet. I did see
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
like it's. I mean,
Talk about
that's like
praise.
one of the. Yeah, that's one of the highest compliments you can get.
It is. It
That's
is.
coming from, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
In terms of, I mean, in terms of production, statistically speaking, no, he's not the best wide receiver in the league. But if you watch Devontae Adams play, you watch his routes, you watch how he gets
right.
open, and what he does after he gets the ball. Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Aaron Rodgers also threw for almost 400 yards. So
Crazy.
my point being that the Packers defense lost in that game. There's no other rhyme or reason around that.
So that being said, the Packers still hold a pretty hefty lead over Minnesota in this division. The Packers sitting at 8-3, Minnesota at 5-5. You got Chicago then at 3-7, and Detroit at 0-9. 9-1, excuse me. 0-9-1 there for the Lions. But so obviously the bottom half of that division is out of the conversation in terms of playoffs. The Packers, as we go into week 12 with 6 game weeks remaining, whether or not teams have a bye, I'm not going to sit here and look through every single team's bye week, but in terms of playoff seedings, the Packers still sit at the number 2 overall for the playoffs, and the Vikings are at a 6 slot. That's second of 3 wild card slots, meaning if the season ended today, they would play Tampa in the first round. Tough sledding there for the Vikings faithful.
Yeah.
So the Packers are still in a very, very good position to lock this division up and lock it up early, actually.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're talking what, 3 weeks that they could secure the bag?
and it's not out of the question. They have Rams, Bears, Ravens out of the next 3 games that they're going to be playing, followed by Browns, Vikings, Lions. I mean, they could win 2. They could win, 4 of those 6 games remaining, pretty handily. The Packers play the Rams on Sunday. Then they play the Bears the week after that. Actually, they have a bye week, and then they play the Bears. So that's a guaranteed win.
Yeah. Come
And
watch Matt Nagy get absolutely worked as a coach.
speaking of Matt Nagy, and I wish Rob was hanging out here. Maybe he's back. I'm not sure, but did you see the latest report?
No.
Matt Nagy is to be fired after the game tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I did not see that. That's interesting.
That's what I saw. Whether or not now how true it is, maybe it was. I'll look it up right now, as I talk about this. But I saw that Matt Nagy is to be fired. How do you let that get out? How do you let that get out before you have a game?
Hey, Matt, happy Thanksgiving. Clean out your office. Also, while you're looking that up, I just got a notification. Mel Tucker, the head coach of Michigan State, has officially received his contract extension. 10 years, $95 million. So Michigan State will continue to be.
So Mel Tucker's going to
team.
LSU, man. He's going to LSU. I'm sorry. Just that notion that Michigan State was going to let anything happen.
No, he's rebuilt that. He's rebuilt that team in what, 2 years?
Yeah,
3 years.
I mean, throw the bag at him. And it was two boosters at Michigan State that funded this extension. Hats off to them for, if all right, let's be honest. If I was rolling in it, right, like I've got my kids set up. I've got my kids set up, like, debt free, rolling clean. I would probably turn the Bowling Green State University basketball program into a top 10 team in the country. That's what I would do. And I wouldn't do football because football is a waste of fucking money. You're just pissing your money away. It can happen in basketball. If I was a booster, that's where my money would go. Because, like, a MAC school these GWAC schools, Sun Belt Conference, Patriot Conference, all this fucking random conferences around. It doesn't matter what conference you're in basketball. It doesn't matter anymore.
Nope.
So if I was like rolling in it, I would turn all my money into Bowling Green State University's basketball program and just turn them into a powerhouse. That's what I would do.
If you could also put a little funding back so they could start baseball again, I think that would be worthwhile.
I think they did. I think they brought it back.
Oh, they did.
I'm not 100%, but it did get shut down from COVID. Yeah. Well, when all that was happening, I think COVID might have been an excuse.
That was
but
that was the only sport that they turned off.
It is,
yeah.
So, anyway, so yeah, that was we went really off the rails there for that one. But yeah, I just looked it up. The reports are false. Apparently, they addressed the Bears players. And said that the reports that Nagy's going to be fired after the game is false. Now, let's watch the Lions blow them out by 50 tomorrow and then see what happens.
Just watch the Bears intentionally flop.
Just get their ass kicked. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
Tim Boyle out there looking like he's Michael Vick in Madden 2004.
So, the next game, Colts versus Bills. This is one we are split on, and one that you and I got incredibly wrong.
Yeah, like super wrong.
Yeah. What's up with the Bills in games against like good teams? What's up with that?
I don't know.
What's up with that? What's up with that? I don't know if you're a Saturday Night Live fan, but that is a very, very bad Keenan impression right
there. Jonathan Taylor. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean what, 5 touchdowns?
Yeah, and over almost 250 yards of total offense.
Doing his best Kenneth Walker III impression is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean that was if you are a Colts fan, Josh Wheeler.
If you're here, let's give it up for Josh Wheeler.
Right?
This guy.
Holy shit.
I mean, the Colts they're legit, right? Like we have to start understanding that.
That was my team to win their division. Remember, I said I thought that they had the stuff, and I think Tennessee is proving that it's very possible.
So here's the problem. They're currently on the outside looking in, sitting at 6-5, which is just mind blowing. The AFC is ridiculous. The 10th best team in the AFC has a winning record. You have to go down to the 13th team, the Miami Dolphins, for a losing record. The 12th best team in Denver is sitting at 500 after 10 weeks. It's really crazy how tight the AFC is, but focusing specifically on the AFC South, so we can get a little bit better look at the Colts here at 6-5. The only issue is they're behind the best team in football, technically, at 8-3, the Tennessee Titans, but we'll get to them in a little. Don't you worry. Let's take a gander at what the Colts have coming up and see how we feel about it. So it's kind of a grab bag here. Buccaneers on Sunday, 1 p.m. game in Indy. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait. It could be potentially be a Super Bowl preview, the way both these teams are playing. At the Texans, definitely going to tune into that one if I can. Obviously, the Bengals play at the same time, but that's going to be a 1 p.m. game in Houston. Then the Patriots. That is going to be so much fun. That's going to be, I think, a Thursday night game, if I'm not mistaken. When is December 18th? It's a Saturday night game. Oh, when the Saturday night game started. They just announced Week 15. We're getting 3 Saturday games, and I'm hot and bothered. I love NFL on Saturday. I love it. And people are like, it's college football's day. Shut up.
Nope.
Shut up. Not if daddy's sitting at the table. You shut the fuck up and watch. So then they play the Cardinals in the desert. Raiders come out to Indy, and then the Jags. So it's kind of a mixed bag. It's not a super, tough schedule that the Colts have going on there. I think they can, stack some wins if they keep playing like this. It's going to be pick 'em at best. I don't see them being large dogs in any of those games. Do you?
Sure. No, not at all. And I think realistically, they have a chance of winning 75, or I guess 67% of their
Sure,
games
sure,
throughout the
sure.
rest of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I don't I just I don't see them slowing down. I think that the momentum that they picked up specifically over the last 2 weeks um, is is really getting them in a position to be the team to beat in the AFC. And yeah, I and their defense just continues to get better too. I mean, they shut down Josh Allen,
Yeah.
and that's a tall task.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that moving forward through the latter part of this season, I think that the Colts are really the team that may get people shaking in their boots a little bit as they approach
I
them
mean,
in
and you
game
called
day.
it a month and a half ago, Todd. You said that they were going to be your team to win the AFC South. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's going to happen. We'll get to the Titans here in a few games, but um, I mean, they're playing great football. So expanding it out a little bit even further, we've talked about the AFC East. We said there's two teams that are probably going to get in the playoffs there, right? The Patriots and
mm,
the Bills. Those are probably two playoff teams. We're talking about the AFC South now, and that there's potentially two playoff teams out of the AFC South. Um, Obviously, divisional winners coming from here and there. Look at the AFC West. You got the Chargers and the Chiefs, and we'll talk about both those teams a little bit. But I would, just from a 30,000 foot level, I would say both of those teams have the potential. Even the Raiders have the potential of sneaking into the playoffs. Raiders probably need to turn some things around going into the end. I kind of have them trajected the other way. But then you look at the AFC North. I would say that there's four potential playoff teams in that division right now, and
yep.
we'll get to some of those here in a little bit. So the AFC is completely up for grabs, um, but I'll tell you why it's not by the end of the show as we continue to progress. So Colts looked great. Bills figured out. I got you guys as an AFC championship team. So moving on to the next game, Lions versus Browns. This game in Cleveland, one that I actually had the privilege of watching, being that um, the Bengals played at a 4 o'clock time slot, so I had the opportunity to indulge in some Lions football, obvious interests in how the Browns play, just based on the fact that they are a divisional rival. This game was awful. This was an absolute dumpster fire. I mean, did you manage to catch any of this game at all?
No, I was driving back into town when the game was going on. That's why I asked. But by the way,
Oh
Corey provided
yes.
me some magical play by play as I was driving back from Cincinnati last
Where it
Sunday.
was the family in
And
the car.
no, I
Oh
was riding
man.
solo.
Oh man. I was
But
really
but
hoping Mary and Declan could have heard that.
I did provide you praise once. Once Mary and Declan did get home, though. I Mary, very politely and lovely as she is, asked me how my drive home was because I left prior to her leaving her parents' house, and I said, "Well, the first hour and a half sucked, but I got to tell you, the last 25 minutes, Corey provided me play by play for the end of the Colts and the uh, Browns and Lions game, and gave 125% to provide an exceptional review of what that game looked
So
like."
for those of you that don't know what the fuck we're talking about, on your iPhone you have a feature where you can record voice messages and send them in your text conversations. And that's what I did for Todd. I literally gave him play by play of the Lions and Browns game, and it was a lot of fun. I actually did that for a couple buddies of ours for the Bowling Green, Minnesota game earlier this year. They couldn't catch it as Bowling Green beat Minnesota on the road. Um, it was their first FBS win since 2019, so it was a big deal for us Falcons.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so this game it was tough. It wasn't a lot of fun to watch. It was a really sloppy game. The Browns are one of the most penalized teams in football. They're not well disciplined in that regard. A lot of mistakes from the offensive line in terms of holding and false starts, and DeAndre Swift is amazing. I said last week that I might have him. I said last week I'd prefer him over Joe Mixon. After the game Joe Mixon had last week, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Made me look like a fucking idiot. But nonetheless, like if I had to start a franchise and I had to pick between those two, being that he's younger and I see the same things. Like when I watch DeAndre Swift run, I see Joe Mixon, right? His ability to catch the ball and make things happen, his ability to hit the holes, get to his top speed lightning quick, which they both do miraculously. They get to that top speed so quickly. But the one thing about DeAndre Swift is he is harder to tackle, in my opinion. I now don't get me wrong. I saw the run from Joe Mixon last week. I know he ran with some force and some power last week, but overall, DeAndre Swift is a very, very hard person to tackle. He's like, it's almost like if you took Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb and morphed it like into that, a little bit more receiving ability than Nick Chubb, a little bit more power than Joe Mixon with DeAndre Swift. So it was a lot of fun to watch. And I'll say the same thing I said about when the Lions played the Steelers. If the Lions had Andy Dalton, if the Lions had Sam Darnold, if they had Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, any competent human being behind center, they would have won that football game.
Yeah.
I mean, they were right there in it for a lot of this game, and the defense made plays when they needed to, and they made stops. And the offense, other than DeAndre Swift, is just it's awful. It's just not a good product out there. So
Yeah, really bad.
yeah,
That's the only way you can describe it. It's just really bad.
So the Browns took care of business there and squeaked out with that win against the Lions. So the Lions moving to 0-9-1, and the hopes of getting a win this season are drifting away. The next game on the docket, all three of us were wrong. The Washington football team versus Cam Wham Bam Newton and the Carolina Panthers. All three of us were riding that Cam train hard.
Yep.
We were all about it, man. We said, "Oh, the Panthers, they're back. Cam's back." We were wrong.
Yeah, nope, did not pan out that way. And look, I don't think Cam Newton played terribly.
No.
Right?
He had a great touchdown run.
Yeah. But also this was really this is the first time he's had real live snaps.
Yeah.
Other than a little
that's fair.
Little touch and go there the week prior. So
yeah.
Maybe we got a little too overzealous, thinking that Cam Newton was going to come in and do Cam Newton things.
But here's the thing: going forward, is he their quarterback?
I don't see how that makes sense. You got Sam Darnold. He wasn't playing poorly.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that game leading up to him getting injured, that was a tough game. That was a tough game for Carolina in its entirety. But now you got McCaffrey back.
Yeah.
Right. So now you have a good, consistent running back with Darnold in the backfield, which makes EJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and those guys more of a threat. Right.
Right.
Cam Newton did not throw to what is his first? Arnold, the tight end for Carolina. I can't remember his first name now. But so he has been Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's he's his third target, right?
Right.
6'4", 260-pound tight end. Your generic tight end, right? You create a team on it, Madden. Your tight end is that size. This is their tight end. Cam Newton did not even target him one single time. And I went back and watched the highlights. He was open like 70% of the time. He was 8 yards down the field. But Cam Newton wants to be flashy. That's his style. He wants to scramble and he wants to throw to Robbie Anderson.
See, but I fucking hate that, man. I fucking hate that. Like, I hate that mentality. And this brings me back, like, I actually fucking hate Cam Newton. I'm sorry. I'm just going to come out and say I don't fucking like him at all. I don't hate him. That's a strong word. I don't like Cam Newton. I've always had exactly what you just said. He's flashy. But you say flashy, I think selfish. That's what I think. He wants to make the big play.
Sure.
That's not what football is. It's not about making the big play. The big plays will come it's about making the big play when you need to. It's not just manufacturing big plays.
Right. which is why New England he didn't stick in New England.
Exactly.
That's not
Yeah.
that's not New England style. They're not big. They don't have the people to be flashy. Shit, Carolina barely has the people to be flashy.
Right.
They have McCaffrey. That's your flash,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
he's not a flashy guy just in general.
What are you
So
just gonna
that's
spend money and then all of a sudden Robbie Anderson's becomes a top 15 wide receiver? He's not even a fucking top 20 wide receiver at this point.
no,
I'm sorry,
no.
but yeah, and I don't know. Cam's just fucking weird, first of all, and it just is weird for me. Like maybe that's a really dumb reason to not like somebody, but just fucking puts me off, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, sure.
He dresses. Do you get all right? Do you remember the guy in Hamilton that had the cart with all the stuffed animals on it?
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of
He
course.
and Cam Newton dress the same. That's my like this. If so, hey, I'll cue you guys in. For those of you that don't know,
somewhere,
the
somewhere
longest
out there has to be a meme of that,
of
right?
that guy.
Somebody in Butler County has had to have done that by now.
Well, this guy, I think he passed away. There's a vagabond in the city of Hamilton, Ohio, that would frequent Main Street, High Street, depending on which side of the river you're on. And he had a shopping cart that was riddled with little like Beanie Baby style stuffed animals, like covered. This whole cart, like zip tied all these animals in front of it. He had them all over him, and it was just like he had a shopping cart, and it was just that guy. You saw him, you're like, oh shit, there he is. He dresses like Cam Newton, and I'm not kidding you. I'm not fucking around here. Like weird feathers in the hair and stuff like going off here, and just they dress the same. I'm just saying. Like, are we in the? Have you seen Zoolander?
Of course.
You know the derelict.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. We're there now, Todd. We're in fucking derelict era of fashion, and people just dress like fucking like homeless people, and it's fashion now.
Well, look at the NBA. I mean, the NBA is.
Did you see the motherfucker with the sweater, the pink sweater?
Kyle Kuzma.
That was Kuz?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But so it's always been the NBA athletes kind of goal to set fashion trends, right?
Sure.
Or specifically that started with Allen Iverson.
Oh,
Allen
okay.
Iverson said that he wanted every basketball player. This is a quote from the Allen Iverson documentary to look ghetto as shit. Because he was ghetto as shit, right?
Sure.
So
yeah, I want Gordon Hayward to look ghetto as shit.
So Allen Iverson started wearing basketball shorts that could basically be pants. So then all of a sudden, every big basketball star is wearing capris during an NBA game and quadruple XL jerseys when they're 5'10", $165, and that's cool, right? So then, fast forward to
Mike Bibby's in a dress.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So you fast forward to the 2010s, and then LeBron James is now your kind of your fashion director.
Hey, Bobby liked the video real quick. Bobby, are you watching? Are you watching right now, Bobby? Go ahead.
He might be lurking. He might not be watching. He might be lurking. So then LeBron starts wearing tight pants and fitted shirts and dressing less in suits and more in what I will call
casual wear,
dirty casual wear.
Sure.
And now that has transcended to guys wearing big pink sweaters, and I don't think it's right. I think it's stupid. But basketball has always been kind of like fashion forward.
Sure.
And I think Cam Newton wanted to bring that to the NFL, but to your point, he's just a weird guy.
Yeah,
like,
but
he makes me uncomfortable to watch him interview.
And
you know what I mean? Because he's not sensible, and his logic is bad, and he's not very well spoken. It's just hard.
It's like, yeah, he's not well spoken. I don't think he's necessarily an intellect. I'm just saying I'm just saying, Cam Newton, I don't think is an intellectually high level person. It's not anything. Don't look any deeper than that because that's literally just all that I'm saying. Um, whereas like somebody like Von Miller, I would say I could have probably a very in depth intellectual conversation with Von Miller. I really honestly believe that.
Sure.
Cam Newton, not so much.
Well, you're also talking about a guy that in his time as a Gator was kicked off the team because he was throwing laptops out of windows of
Yep,
dorms.
yep, yep.
Um,
So
that
there you
usually
go.
doesn't equate to somebody really be using just. I'll just call it general logic. General
So
logic tells me that if I'm on the seventh floor of at a public university dormitory, that for funsies, I'm just going to start throwing laptops.
if
That
I was
doesn't that
fucked
doesn't
up, I
really
probably would. To
compute.
be honest, I would do it too. I would. If I was fucked up, I would. I would do it.
Yeah, but he was stone cold sober when he did it.
Right. Well,
Um,
allegedly. Allegedly. Anyway,
allegedly,
so
yeah,
Cam Newton, I don't view as an intellect. That said, now that he's fucking loaded, boy got money. Now he's an intellect. He knows about vaccinations. He knows about a myriad of social issues.
sure.
Cam Newton is a forward thinker, and we should listen to what he says and take it seriously. Yeah, fuck that. I'm sorry.
Imagine a a post game conference or a post game interview with Cam Newton and Kyrie Irving, and they each have their own
God,
microphone and they're each provided their own platform. It's just an hour
this
and a
is
half of people.
Cam Newton. This is the same person that scoffed and laughed at a female reporter because she knew about routes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a reason Cam Newton is no longer the spokesperson for Dannon Oikos yogurt, their Greek yogurt, any longer. It's because he laughed at a female reporter, said, "Wow, I didn't know women knew about routes," or something to the effect of that. I'm not quoting it. I'm speaking, off the top of the head here, but something to that extent. Basically, put down a female reporter for asking a football intelligent question. God forbid. Anyway, moving on. I've wasted too much time on Cam. Um, Texans Titans. To say that we were all wrong on a lot of games this week would be an understatement, but we were all wrong here. I think the world was wrong. But this is a message for Nashville, the city of Nashville, and the team that inhabits it. I'm in a 32-person survivor league. There were 5 people left. I picked you, Tennessee. I hadn't picked you all season, but I picked you last week. And do you know what I would have won if I had made it? I would have won $400. Which doesn't seem like a lot. That's a car payment. You cost me that, Nashville. Other people, you cost their sobriety, money, and their pride. You got one of those 3. You got my pride. Well, I guess you got 2. You got my money. You took fucking Survivor League from me, Titans. What the fuck, guys? The Texans?
Right. Ryan Tannehill was abysmal. I mean, I think that's the best way to describe his performance. It was abysmal. I believe Adrian Peterson was their primary spotlight of that offensively for them in that game.
Yeah, not a bad. I had him on my bench. I did pick him up ever since he got signed there. But let's see what AP's stat line is. I got it right here.
And by I say spotlight, I believe he only had like 60 yards rushing.
It wasn't a whole lot. He had 9 attempts, 40 rushing yards, 2 targets,
Okay.
2 receptions, 4 receiving yards. So it wasn't a whole lot. So the spotlight was a little bit as like one of the little free mag lights the electric company gives you when they're like, "Hey, sorry, your power went out." Like that's what he is for the Titans offense.
Yeah. Again, that's speaking on how terrible offensively they were in that game.
Yeah, and I mean, is it starting? Is this just more to come? Like, is this what we should expect out of the Titans now that Derrick Henry's out? Because, yeah, Derrick Henry's out, And so you're thinking, oh, well, it just affects the run game. But no, it really affects
No.
the entire offense. It affects the passing game. When you are lined up and let's say Tannehill lines up under center with a running back behind him, and he's got one wide receiver to the left and two out to the right with a tight end. Let's just say that's the formation that they're lined up in, right? When you're lined up there as a defense, you're less worried about them running. You could line up in a nickel set and be fine. Because you can tackle Adrian Peterson. You can tackle... Who else do they have?
McNichols.
That's a real person?
McNichols. Yeah.
I thought you
can't
said
remember his first name.
McDickles. I'm sorry.
No, McNichols.
Okay.
I might have. I might have not enunciated appropriately.
McPickle.
McNichols.
It's a new fried pickle dish from McDonald's. The McPickles.
Yeah.
I'd buy that, by the way. Why don't they do that?
Right. I mean, there's already fried pickles out there. Just give me a whole mess of fried pickles with Big Mac sauce. I'm in.
Jesus Christ! What did we just do? We need to call McDonald's now. Hey guys, listen up. I got something to tell you. You're never gonna believe it.
just call to their customer service line. Okay, hear me out.
Listen to me.
Sir, it's 3:30 in the morning. No. Hear me out.
Listen.
I want you to give me a vat of Big Mac sauce and fry me up some of those pickles. No, it's perfect. I mean, it's you're talking to a guy that, if I'm not thinking about my son or my wife, it is mostly about food.
Food or football, yeah. That's
my life
typically
is,
the way it
my
goes.
life is yeah, my life is
My life be like food.
yeah, my life is driven by my next meal. Yeah.
Yeah.
My next meal is
100%.
how I prepare how I'm going to be. So there's a lot of time when my peepers are open, then I'm thinking about what kind of concoction I can put together to satisfy my tummy.
How often today have you thought about what you're going to eat tomorrow?
At least a dozen times.
Yeah, tomorrow isn't an anomaly. Like, it's an outlier, right?
Yeah. My objective is to polish off an entire tray of those sweet, delightful Hawaiian rolls.
Oh, just the rolls? Or were you going to throw some turkey and gravy in there? What are you going to do?
Well,
make a
that's
little
only
Sammy?
one part of. Yeah, that's one part of the equation that is my appetite. The rolls are just like you go to Texas Roadhouse because you want to eat the sweet dinner rolls. You want three trays of those before you even get to the meal.
Right.
So then you can take some of it home, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, you're 3/4 of the way through your steak. Ma'am, may we have some more bread, please?
Yeah.
And she just kind of looks at you like,
good dick. But I get it. No, that's not me. My logic is, if you put it in front of me, I'm going to eat all of it. And then if you offer me more, then I will also continue to eat more of it until stuffing and Hawaiian rolls are oozing out of my ears. That's where I'm going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll be blacked out on sweet, delightful turkey gravy.
I don't have that luxury, being that I am in isolation due to COVID.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I feel like Saturday we might have an ability to do the thing. You know, we'll have the family. Maybe they'll have some leftovers. I'm with Joe Burrow here, man. I enjoy turkey, but ham is infinitely better. If you don't know
that.
Joe Burrow in his press conference, they asked him about Thanksgiving dinner. He said, "I'm not really a big turkey guy. I'm more of a ham guy." And you know what? Like, to be honest with you, if you think about it, I eat turkey because it's Thanksgiving. That's it. If you gave me the choice and I'm not worried about health, I'm going ham. Turkey's obviously the leaner of the two options, but ham is infinitely better tasting. Let's not, come on. What are we doing here?
There's a lot less room for failure with ham than there is turkey.
Yeah, you can
really turkey
too dry.
Yeah, turkey is the quality is based on the preparer, right? If you have if you have a poor preparation of turkey, you're going to be dissatisfied.
Quick anecdote.
Because the gravy's out. Because everybody's covering everything in gravy because it all tastes dry and disgusting.
True. Here's a fun story. So this was the New Year's Eve after. Whoa, hit the table there. The New Year's Eve after the girls were born. My dad and stepmom affectionately referred to as Grandma and Papa, made the trip up from Cincinnati, and they were going to watch the girls on New Year's Eve for us so we could have a night out and do New Year's Eve. So we did that. We brought the girls. We all six of us went to a party first. The girls were there, being little meat sacks that they were at like 4 months old at that time. And my dad had an extra ham from Christmas, and he brought it up. A full, like, I'm not fucking around, like a 12-pound, 20-pound, something. I don't know. I don't
Sure.
know. I don't know what units of measurement hams come in, but it was a big
Pounds.
fucking ham, right?
Yeah.
Brought it up, and there are like 20 drunks at this party, and my dad bakes this ham, brought his own knives from Cincinnati, proceeds to just carve this ham while we're all belligerent, like 25 people, drunker than hell. And he's carving it up, we're taking by. Oh wow, this is really good ham. Gee, I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish all this ham. Well, flash forward to 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm grabbing the last piece of ham off the tray. That was really good. It's a quick anecdote about holiday parties and ham, real quick there.
Thanks for sharing your ham tales.
Your ham tails. That's a
Ham
show.
tales.
Okay, so Titans let the world down. Thanks a lot. Still set atop the AFC, not just the AFC South, the AFC in general. The Titans, number 1 seed right now. 49ers versus Jags. 49ers. All three of us took the Niners. All three of us were correct, as the Niners picking up a little steam here. After the big win against the Rams, the Niners looking good there against the Jags, which they should have. We'll see how that plays out. That division's kind of in flux. The Seahawks are down. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray, when's he coming back? The Rams have had some weak spots, and the Niners are kind of on the up and up. We'll see how this plays out. Again, with, I believe, 6 weeks, 6 games, relatively speaking, ahead for us. So, all right, the next one, Dolphins versus Jets. Another split, and one. The last time there was a split, the two of us were defeated. This time, my friend, we were victorious. Dolphins, Jets. You and I took the Fins.
Bobby was very
Congratulations.
confident that Joe Flacco was gonna
He was so
do
confident.
like some weird Baltimore Joe Flacco
He was going
shit.
to get so many defensive pass interference calls. Just chuck it up deep and hope for a flag.
Truth be told, if he doesn't lose Michael Carter in that game, it might go. It could have gone a different direction.
Sure,
but
sure.
He lost him in the first half, and he
Yeah.
was playing like out of his mind. He was their whole offense.
Yeah, I mean, both those teams are dog shit, right? Like we just talked about it earlier, and neither one of them is sniffing the playoffs.
No, for a while. I think for a while.
Did you know the Jets have 2 top 10 picks next year?
Do they really?
Technically, right now, yes, because they have the Seahawks pick. And who would have picked the Seahawks to be a potentially top 10 pick? No one. No one would have predicted that. The Jets, watch out.
Here's the real question: do the Jets draft another quarterback?
No. You've got at least at the worst case scenario, you have a stopgap, right? You have a cheap quarterback on a rookie contract. If you're the Jets and Zach Wilson, you have a stopgap. And what I mean by that, for those of you that aren't fucking psychopaths and eat, breathe, shit, and sleep football, stopgap is somebody that you know is not your long-term solution, but they are a solution for it currently. They can hold that spot. They're not going to cost you a lot of money. That being said, Zach Wilson was a first-round pick. He's not like the cheapest rookie on the planet, but in terms of a quarterback, let him sit. So if you're going to have 2 top 10 picks, I think like if the Jets are like in the top third, I would even consider trading out of that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, that's what I think.
You know what I mean? Like stack more stuff. Just keep getting more capital and just build a team that's going to be very cheap and sustainable, really. So
yeah, I think you you work those picks to get more picks on the back end, day 2 and 3, right?
Exactly.
And
Like,
you get high value offensive linemen in rounds 4 through 6, or
yeah.
defensive linemen, or exterior linebackers. That's when you start. That's where you make your money, right? That's where the paychecks start making sense.
Yeah, and then like let's say the Jets are sitting at 3. Denver calls, hey, we're gonna trade you, number 19 and a third and a fifth, and then a first rounder next year. They'd be like, okay, deal. And then they're gonna go
Sign
get
that. Sign that.
yeah, then they're gonna go get a quarterback, the guy from Pitt, and then he'll have an abysmal career. And John Elway will still continue to run the donkeys into the ground. That's probably what will happen.
That's a good prediction. I don't think that's far off, honestly. I really don't. I mean, clearly,
If
John
it
Elway
happens,
is the
we will get a clip from this broadcast right here, and we'll put it out there. It'll be hilarious.
And it'll go along with the 7 other clips where all 3 of us just dog John Elway for being the shittiest front office member of the NFL.
There's only
The
one
dude has
reason
no
he
idea
has a
how to
job right
quarterback.
now is because he put 2 fucking Lombardi trophies in that owner's office. That's the only reason he has a job right now.
Well, he was a quarterback though, not as a leader,
Right.
not as a front office leader,
Right.
because
Exactly.
he's too conceited to be successful in that.
Well, he put 2 as a quarterback and 1 as a GM, which his GM
Right.
philosophy was, I'm going to use this defense that somebody else built, and then just go get Peyton Manning, and that's
Right.
yeah.
And let Peyton Manning manage the clock, because at that point in time, that's all he was doing at the end of his career, was just managing the clock.
Yeah, it was sad. Okay, the next one we were all right on, and in a team that is finding an identity and finding some momentum, I would say, in a division that needs it. The Eagles and the Saints. The Eagles took care of business again.
Yep.
I said it last week on the show, man. This is a power running team. That being said, who was the star? It was Jalen Hurts, man.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns to Devonta Smith in the first half.
Yep.
That's starting to look like a pretty crispy combo, honestly.
Yeah, it is. I love it. They played together, right?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, you're starting to see 2 guys who played in college.
Wait. Did they?
Yeah, Devonta Smith was
a freshman.
Was a freshman.
Okay.
So maybe not. Maybe he didn't get snapped. I don't know. Alabama just has so many offensive weapons all the time that I just don't imagine a freshman playing. But then you got Bryce Young making $10 million. But it's starting to look like Jalen Hurts is kind of shedding that skin of being kind of a unsure, not really know how to run the offense kind of quarterback. And he's starting to make some decisions. And I think we've seen him a little bit this year make some not so great decisions, throwing balls into double, sometimes triple coverage at the beginning of the year. But I mean, you said it. They have 3 running backs right now that all 3 can move very well with or without the ball. And they're all healthy. They're all getting involved. And that makes Jalen Hurts a dual threat quarterback at that point in time.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw that move that he put on that defender there for the Saints, just absolutely broke his ankles and came out and ran it in for 6 and it looked phenomenal. And one thing I do want to focus on, like, the Eagles have looked relatively good. They've won 3 out of their last 4. Lions, they played the Lions, Chargers, Broncos, Saints. They won 3 of those 4, with the loss being to the Chargers, only by 3, albeit. Look ahead to what the Eagles have coming up. They have the Giants. They have the Jets. They have Washington. They have the Giants. They have Washington. And then they finish the season with the Cowboys. The only game I don't see them being favored in is the Cowboys.
Right. They win every other game.
The Eagles could literally reel off 6 straight here.
Yep.
I'm sorry, 7 straight. They could win 7 straight. They could be 10-6 going into the last game of the season.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Like who? Like I ripped their coach coming into this season. I ripped their coach because he's the guy going, how do I evaluate competitiveness? Well, I make them play rock, paper, scissors with me. I find out how competitive they are that way. It's like, that's how you evaluate talent. I still kind of stand by that whole thing is like, what the fuck? But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, all three of us took the Eagles, though. I mean, and the Eagles are moving on up, man. They are rolling on up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more NFL games to cover from last week. We are going to cover some college football because, in case you didn't hear, there's something exciting that happened in the college football playoff rankings. We're going to cover all that. We're going to take a quick break, 5 minutes or so, and then we will come back for more Line to Gain. See you then. All right, we're good. All right. Just a quick $5 and then we'll jump back on. All right, cool. are back. We are back. It's just a quick break.
Yo.
Quick break. Shout out to Cody Bauer for liking the stream. Appreciate you, Cody.
Hey.
Thank you, good sir. All right. So, as mentioned, we got a couple more games to wrap up from last week, and then we're going to get into a little college football talk. The next game on the slate is one that is close to our hearts, Todd. One that you and I split from Bobby on, and that we were the victors.
That's right. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, what he is talking about is the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Las Vegas Raiders.
Dominating the Las Vegas Raiders, if you will.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal game coming out of the bye. As I mentioned a statistic that teams coming off a bye, 74% of the time they win. And what I didn't know is that I think the last 5 out of the last 7 times the Bengals came off the bye, they lost. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Oh, shit.
Or maybe it was the last 5 weeks coming off the bye, the Bengals had lost.
Oh.
Didn't know when I had made that prediction, but nonetheless,
didn't matter.
Didn't matter at all. And you and I had talked. We're we want to see more Joe Burrow. We want to see him more throw. We were wrong. They ran the ball effectively. They ran the ball hard.
Beautiful.
They ran the ball well. And the comment coming out of the half, I'm not sure if you caught this from the sideline reporter. She had talked to Zach Taylor coming out. We have to continue to commit to the run game. The dam is going to break, is what Zach Taylor had told the reporter. And he was 100% right. They came out and continued to commit to the run, and it started to open up from there. And it was really, really assuring to watch that. I don't know about you. What were your thoughts on seeing the way they came out in the second half or the game in general?
Yeah. So I think the big thing watching the second half versus the first half was really the energy, right? The energy that the Bengals had on the field. Every first down was like a touchdown. Anytime Mixon to get a first down, he was hyped. He's hyping his team. His linemen are hyping him up. And that goes a long way, I think, with creating the just gaining momentum in your direction, especially when you're on the road like that. You know what I mean? If you are hyping each other up and you're getting people in the right mindset that you're going to win, you sure as shit start thinking that you're actually going to win, and then you start playing harder. And Mixon, hats off to him. That dude ran I think the hardest that he's ran in his career on Sunday. He's not a guy that really dances too often, but the way that he was hitting the 4, specifically the 4, 6, and the 5 hole in the second half of that game, he had a real intent. And I don't think we've seen that too. He's had a great season. I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying that he hasn't run hard, but he had real intent in the second half of that game. And shout out to the Bengals offensive line. The least penalized offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah.
By I believe it's 13 penalties.
It's Zach Taylor, but it's also Frank Pollock, the offensive line coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, and what they've been able to do in terms of changing the culture and the discipline around that offensive line. They've brought in some quality people, Riley Reif, and then obviously Quentin Spain is doing a great job there, and Akeem Adeniji, rookie. The guy is earning it, and he's, I think, probably going to be our starting right guard for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. I don't see why he wouldn't be. Leave some questions about what Jackson Carman's development is going to look like. But nonetheless, if you told me that we were going to come out of this draft with a starting wide receiver and a starting right guard, I would have been happy. I wouldn't care what round that they came in if they're going to produce and give us quality. That's all that really, really matters. They kept Burrow clean for the most part too. Yeah, he got hit a lot, but that's those hits are on Burrow. Like
Right. Well,
I'm
it takes them 6 seconds to throw the ball.
exactly, and that maybe that's some scheme, maybe that's some down the field coverage. I'm not entirely sure at this point, but you want Joe Burrow in that improv mode because that's when he wins. The big plays with Uzama on Thursday night against the Jags, those were improv plays that his
Right.
chemistry with Uzama produced. Same with some of the big plays with Jamar down the field. Those are improv. Okay, jailbreak, go, get open, and I'll hit you. That's how you want Joe Burrow playing because his intuitiveness and ability to know what his receivers are going to do, and the same for his receivers, their ability to know where he needs them.
Yeah.
That's where he wins. And he's not the only quarterback like that. Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, even Deshaun Watson when he was playing. These guys get sacked and they get hit a lot. That's how they play, but that's also
Right.
how they are, most potent and dangerous. So I was very impressed with the way they came out and continued with the game plan, and it paid off. They committed to it, and some really big runs from not only Joe Mixon but Samaje Perine had some good runs in there too. And
Yeah.
I was very very happy with it going into Steeler week. That's what you want to see. You want to see some
Yeah.
confidence. You want to see them playing hard. But this is going to be a different Steeler team coming in next week. They got T.J. Watt, and he is their defense. He is a game changer for them. So they looked pretty sharp in the second half against the Chargers last week. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but it's going to be a battle. Any other comments from you there on the?
No,
Um,
dude. You covered it very eloquently.
thank you so much. Another game that we weren't split on. We all three were together on this one. We were all right. Cowboys versus Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, they're back.
Yeah. I think it's the impact statement of the game for me is Travis Kelsey scoring their first touchdown in a wildcat formation, running the hardest 4 yards any tight end has ever run in their life. That dude, when he put his head down, I was watching it on my phone as I was watching the Bengals game. When he took that snap, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna run. And he put that head down, and I think if 11 people would have hit him, he still would have scored. He was determined to get in
Yeah,
the
he's
end
like, you're
zone.
not stopping me.
No, they worked on that play Tuesday afternoon and said maybe we'll do it. And Travis Kelsey just Andy, coach, run the play, run the
Do
wildcat play.
it.
Let me get in. Let me get in,
Do it.
coach. He hasn't thrown me the ball yet. He hasn't thrown me the ball yet. Let me get in.
Do it.
And Andy Reid's like, fine, fucking give him the ball. Give Travis the ball. And Travis just is gloating on the field, giggling his way as he's making his way out to the huddle, getting the call to play. Pat Mahomes is Kermit the Frog rolling his eyes. Uh, and Travis Kelsey fucking ran his heart out and threw that thing in the end zone. And I truly believe that set the tone for the game because Dallas just, I mean, you said it kind of jokingly in our group message, but
I
what the
wasn't
hell,
joking. I wasn't joking.
Kansas City's defense, are they the real deal? Truthfully, are they the real deal?
They've honestly they've been getting better every single week, and I think over the last 5 games they've only allowed 13 points on defense. If you average it out, the last 5 games, that's insane. 13
Yeah,
points. How do you win? You can't. If you can only
no,
get 13 points, you won't win football games, and that's why the Chiefs. Oh, we blink and what? They're fucking 7-4. Like the
yeah,
Chiefs, they're back, and that's what I was alluding to earlier in the stream. Is I told the AFC is up for grabs. It's not, in my opinion. It runs through Kansas City still. It still runs through Kansas City because if their defense is potent and then their offense gets clicking, you're done. You're done.
yep,
If you
yep.
can't score, you're done because they can and they will
They will.
quickly. And they did it against Dallas. Now, Dallas, let's be clear. Like, if you're looking for a game to get your offense going, Dallas is the team to do it against. Their defense is not good. Their offense is very good. But the Chiefs shut down their offense, and the Chiefs' offense looked productive. And they
Yep.
went out and silenced Dallas.
Yeah, and Chris Jones going out and manhandling Dallas's
Three and a
offensive
half
line.
sacks, I think.
Three and a half sacks and a forced fumble, or
Yeah,
a recovered fumble, and was in the backfield. I believe I think it was it Ian Rappaport. He's in the backfield like 14
that's
times.
insane.
What?
He
what do you
probably,
what do you
and
do?
for those of you that are wondering, oh, okay, 14 times was him. He probably played like 70 snaps max. Max.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's like
that being in the back,
30% of the game he's been in the backfield.
yeah. So that's a lot. And when a 6'6", 300-pound athlete lines up across the ball from you
Every
and
three
makes
snaps, you're like, oh, fuck.
yeah, he makes a conscious decision when Prescott was under center that I'm going to get to this guy in 2 seconds, and he did. One of
Yeah.
his sacks, I believe that Prescott had the ball in his hand for less than 2 seconds, and he
Wow.
was on his shit. I believe that was the first or second sack,
Yeah.
and you when you have here's the thing, like, Chris Jones isn't this crazy be all end all defensive lineman, right? I think that he's a good offensive lineman, but he's not a guy that's brought up on, he's not brought up on Sports Center. He's not a guy that we've talked about before. But
Right.
when when you when you have that type of pressure on any quarterback of any level of eliteness in the NFL, that changes your scheme.
Yeah.
And then you couple that with Dallas had no running game either, which is huge. That's Prescott makes his money when Zeke can run the ball, and they just didn't. Tony Pollard couldn't get anything going either. So guess what? They don't win, and it sucks because you lose that game in Kansas City, and that's a 10-point loss. It's not a bad loss for Dallas, but that's really kind of a momentum shifter for them because if they win that game in Kansas City, people are talking about Dallas as a whole different franchise this year.
Yeah.
And they kind of lose that illustrious that the Cowboys are back, Dak's back, and they're making a run in the NFC. Well, now they lost to Kansas City in Kansas City, but it wasn't a fun game, right? It wasn't a shootout like what it should have been.
Right.
It was a one-sided game, realistically.
Yeah. Definitely. It's kind of like the Super Bowl last year, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
So
You're absolutely right.
You had mentioned QB pressure, so I wanted to get through this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top 10 QB pressures. As I want to. We do our top 10 lists from time to time, and this is through 11 weeks of the NFL. QB pressures. This isn't sacks. This isn't hits. Anything like that. I want to hear who you think is in the top 10 QB pressures of the NFL.
These are individual players, or are we doing teams?
Individual players.
Oh shit!
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, but it's a Thanksgiving episode. I have to give something. I have to get
getting spicy.
Yeah.
So I would have said Chandler Jones.
He's not in this list.
He's gone stone cold silent since week
There's
one.
some ones that you can get. You can get some of these for sure.
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt. TJ Watt is currently 5th on the list at 29. There's another individual. There's another individual also at 29. Aaron Donald is not on this list.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Most of these are edge rushers.
So Chase Young.
Again, it's pressures. It's not tackles for loss.
Yeah.
Chase Young is not on this list.
Ooh. I don't know. Give me the list. I don't want to prolong this. I'll give the people the facts.
All right. So number 1 with 41 QB pressures is Myles Garrett.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Well, Myles Garrett is also leading the league in sacks, like far and above. Myles Garrett is having an insane year. Number 2,
he's having a year for the record books right now.
He is.
Like he could.
Yeah. Michael Strahan's record is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Number
absolutely.
2, 37 QB pressures, Harold Landry, Tennessee Titans. Number 3 at 35, San Francisco.
Bosa.
Nick Bosa. There you go.
Fucking Bosa.
Also at 35, from New England.
Is that Matthew Judon?
It is. Judon is there at 35.
The man that says mac and cheese should never be on your Thanksgiving plate.
I kind of agree. I'm sorry. It's
What?
not a Thanksgiving dish for me. I like mac and
All
cheese. I
right,
don't agree with
that's
him
fair.
there. I don't agree with him there. It's not that it's gross. It's delicious. Particularly if you throw a little pulled pork and some barbecue sauce in there, then you really got me. But it's not Thanksgiving for me. I'm not like
That's
I
fair.
if I'm making a decision like, all right, am I gonna get the cheesy potatoes and the mac and cheese? I'm going cheesy potatoes every time. Every time.
That's fair.
Number 5, you already guessed T.J. Watt. Number 6, actually tied with T.J. Watt at 29 QB pressures, also in the AFC North.
Trey Hendrickson.
Trey Hendrickson, beautifully done. Number 20 at 27 QB pressures, also in the AFC North.
Sam Hubbard.
Sam Hubbard
That's beautiful.
at
That's a good stat
27.
right there.
Also at 27 at the NFC West. I don't know if you're going to get this one. The Cardinals. Marcus Goldman. Golden, sorry,
No,
Marcus Golden.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
Sure.
We would have prolonged people for no reason.
So at number 9 with 26 pressures out of the AFC West, you might get this one. The Oakland Raiders.
Oh, Crosby.
Max Crosby, exactly.
Max Crosby, yeah.
Number 26 out of the NFC North was just taken into custody by Minneapolis Police Department.
Oh, the guy that locked himself in for 14 hours.
Mr. Everson Griffin.
Yeah, thank you. So all I got was I didn't get the initial like, hey, this is what happened. All I got was a notification from about Everson Griffin, like he finally left his house.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't know that
the
he was
fuck
in
are
his
you
house.
talking
I
about?
didn't. I was like, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Is there something relevant to this? And then I start reading the article. I'm like, oh shit, this guy
shit.
like he went through it.
Yeah.
He had a moment.
Yep, sure did, and he probably won't play football this year.
No, that's the end of his season.
Yeah. If season is,
which is a shame.
If that's all he's worried about, though, you know what I mean. It could be career.
Yeah.
But no, interesting. The reason I brought that up, I thought it was crazy that in the top 10 QB pressures, there's 2 Cincinnati Bengals sitting on that list.
Yeah.
You know, I had this beer on our last stream on Thursday night. This is a New Belgium Accumulation, a Winter Hazy IPA. And I tasted it. There's a lot more flavor this week.
Yeah, so he messaged Bobby and I was like, hey, I got the Rona. No wonder my fucking beer tasted flat.
Yeah, it wasn't flat. It was just like there was like bland. Little to no. It was bland. It was like I was drinking like a Natty Light that I found in the garage or something. Like it was just like a lot more flavor. A beer that I'll get again now. Like previously, I was like, wouldn't get it again. Anyway, we got a couple more games to get through. I'm prolonging here. I apologize, but this is the first real social interactions other than FaceTime that I've had.
I'm happy to do it with you,
for
buddy.
A while.
I'm here for you.
I appreciate it. Next one, Cardinals Seahawks. This is one we were split on. One that I didn't take this way in my pick'em, which I'm glad, but in our league, I got it incorrectly. We both took the Seahawks. Bobby took the Cardinals. Cardinals, without Kyler Murray, still went into Seattle and got the win.
God, the Seahawks are bad.
They are. They're a bad football team.
I think you and I even said this last Thursday. There's not a shot in hell that a non-Kyler Murray / Colt McCoy led Cardinals team beats Seattle in Seattle. And boy, were we wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what's funny enough is like Sunday as I was making my picks, I'm in a league where you have to pick the games and rate them on confidence every week. I was like, I'm going to take the Cardinals. I'm going to put a 2 on them, but I'm still going to take the Cardinals because the Seahawks are that fucking bad, and they are. They are.
They're bad, dude.
The next one where you stood alone, good sir. Sunday Night Football, Steelers versus Chargers in the beautiful SoFi Stadium there in Los Angeles. Bobby and I took the Steelers, and they almost made us winners at the end of that game. But the Chargers held strong and gave Todd his solo victory there. Todd, how you feeling?
Well, although I know for a fact that I am still in last place, it's nice to just that margin just a tiny bit closer.
Sure.
Also, I've been basically unzipping Justin Herbert's pants all year, and I'm glad that finally delivered appropriately for me.
He looked
That zipper gets to
amazing.
go down
He looked
just a hair
amazing.
further. Yeah, he
He
played
looked
great.
amazing.
I,
I mean,
he played so shitty 2 weeks in a row, and prime time, which is what I said. Prime time Justin Herbert is a different player. He showed out. He showed
yeah.
up, showed out, and really the Chargers defense almost lost in that game. That wasn't a there were no offensive blunders. Austin Eckler played absolutely out of his fucking mind.
What did he have? 4
Um,
touchdowns?
yeah, and caught the ball better than most receivers in the
Yeah,
NFL.
that knee
Uh,
ain't a problem, boy.
yeah. Um, Again, the Chargers offense is just so high powered, and there's just random weapons
Yep.
everywhere that can come out of nowhere that they are going to be. They're just going to be tough. They have 3 or 4 things that they need to fix on the defensive side of the ball, but those offensive weapons, if they can continue to afford them, are dangerous.
Yeah, and that's see, so that it's interesting that you say that because as I was watching that game on Sunday night, that was one of the things that was going into my mind is like, okay, this Chargers offense looks so much more efficient than the Bengals offense. And then I started thinking about it, I was like, well, look at their weapons. Look at Mike Williams. Look at Keenan Allen.
Those are real tenured,
Look at
strong
look at
veteran
Austin
wide
Eckler.
receivers. Yeah,
These guys are in their, 6th plus season, Austin Eckler excluded. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, they've been in like
they're both close to a decade at this point.
they're I'm gonna pull it up right now so I don't put my foot in my mouth. Um, but they got to be close to contract extension, right?
Right.
They got to be close
I believe
to going out and getting
Mike
more money, right?
Mike Williams might be the only relevant Trojan playing in the NFL right now.
Sam Darnold is relevant. Well, he's not playing, but
Right.
is Chase Claypool from USC?
He is a Notre Dame fighting Irishman.
Okay, so same thing. Um,
Yeah,
so Mike,
similar.
here's interesting. This is fucking interesting, man. Little Big Lebowski reference. Mike Williams is an unrestricted free agent after this year.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Austin Eckler is under contract for 2 more years. Let's see. Let's look at Keenan Allen. Yeah, that's crazy that about Mike Williams. That's insane.
Yeah, he's. I think he's earned his stripes in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, he's gonna go get paid, and
Yeah,
and he should like go to the
yeah,
Jets and make 14 million a year.
right. Him, Crowder, and Corey Davis all just snatching balls from Zach
So
Wilson.
Keenan Allen is under contract for 3 more years. That being said, Keenan Allen turns 30 next year. He'll be 30 for the 2022 season. And the only reason I bring that up is because after 30, it's statistically, it's a fact, guys. Like, it's not even a question. At 30 years, wide receivers degrade. They go down. They're not as potent. I don't know what else to say, but the statistics drop severely. There are some unicorns: Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Larry Fitzgerald. But we're talking about first ballot Hall of Famers here, guys. Those are different, different beasts entirely.
Absolutely.
So Keenan Allen is under contract for 3 more years. Mike Williams, this is the last year. Last year's contract. I haven't heard about an extension. I haven't even. Actually, I apologize. Okay. this is his 5th-year option, and it was exercised by the Chargers. So that he was under his rookie deal with the Chargers, and
Huh.
they exercised that 5th year. I have not heard about an extension. Boy is balling, and I would expect that they are going to spend on him.
Yeah,
Um,
you gotta pay the man. And I believe Justin Herbert being uh the character that he is, he wants Mike Williams.
but
That's a weapon he needs.
here's the thing, man. I am opposed to it. I do not. There are two positions that I'm, maybe even three positions that I'm not okay with extending. Wide receivers, you're going to overpay. Running backs, you're going to overpay. I wouldn't say defensive end falls in that category. I was going to say DN, but it doesn't really fall in that category. Running backs and wide receivers, you're going to overpay every time, particularly Mike Williams. You're going to overpay every single
Yeah,
time.
I see what you're saying.
You're going to, like, go draft someone. Go draft a wide receiver next year. I know Mike Williams is really, and you're like, Corey, well, the Bengals extended Tyler Boyd and they extended Joe Mixon. Yeah, but they didn't pay top dollar. Like, Tyler Boyd
Right.
was a cheap extension.
He's cheap. He's cheap.
Joe Mixon was a very, very cheap extension because he's been hurt all the time.
Right.
He's like
And
Nick Chubb and,
his
and
pa-
and Joe Mixon's contracts are like almost identical. It's crazy. 1 year separated, obviously, but what were you gonna say?
no, I was just gonna say Mixon's past haunts him a lot as
Mm-hmm.
you talk about, future endeavors with him, because there's always a character question no matter
Yeah,
what. No matter if he's 5 years separated from that, but people still bring that up in
Joe Mixon's not
conversation
doing
about
fucking
Mixon.
endorsement deals. Let me just put it that way.
No, never, not in a million years, and he
Yeah,
realizes that,
yeah.
right? Like he understands that his immature actions,
His
albeit
best chance at endorsement is when he retires from the Cincinnati Bengals and he gets a local car dealership.
right. You McCluskey will eat
Come
up a
on
Joe
down to
Mixon deal.
Mixon Ford. Like that's literally his like, and he should do that. If I was like,
Yeah,
I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. You travel 30 miles south of Salt Lake City, Utah. There are 14 car dealerships, all with Karl Malone's name on them.
no shit.
Oh yeah, and
Interesting.
Karl Malone's got his own past. We won't get into that tonight.
Yeah, no,
That's a whole
that deserves its
podcast.
own yeah, that's a whole episode.
Yeah.
Carmelone's whole episode. Up here in Columbus, for what it's worth, it's Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg gets the dealerships up here.
Interesting. He's not from
Yes,
Columbus, so why?
no, there's just, I don't know. He bought three family dealerships.
You'd think it'd be like Eddie George or Archie Griffin, or
No, Eddie George has a steakhouse.
and it's delicious, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. No,
Splurged, and we went.
Eddie, Eddie George has a steakhouse. Archie Griffin has a.
Doesn't he have a bar? Eddie
Yeah,
George's.
it's a. Oh yeah, in downtown.
Yeah.
Like near campus.
Yep.
Archie Griffin has a like an event center.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very expensive. I was like, let's do the Christmas party at Archie Griffin's event center.
Never
I worked
mind.
for the biggest used car dealership in the country, and it was several $1,000s outside of our budget. And now Mark Wahlberg, there's just like this almost defunct family that had. I mean, these lots are 300 cars plus. They're huge,
Yeah.
and they have 16 bay service centers, and that's for a new car dealership. That's where your money's made. Is on the service side.
100%.
Mark Wahlberg just said, "Good vibrations. Give me the Skrilla," and bought three dealerships. He bought a Chevy, Ford, and
Love
a
it.
Cadillac dealership. And now every day on my way to work, I get to drive by Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet. And when I'm bidding at an auction, I'm bidding against a buyer for Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet.
That's awesome.
And I made a good vibrations joke to him one time, and ever since then he will not speak to me.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it too. It just, he's kind of a dick, so I was kind of being a dick back, and ipso facto now he really hates my guy.
Just make Ted like different like other guys and Ted's jokes to him.
Okay.
Like throughout the day.
I'm telling you, he literally will walk around. Like I could be walking right towards him, and he would just walk in the other direction if there was a brick wall in front of him. The dude avoids me like the plague. It's incredible.
You should just ask him like, "Hey, so have you ever met Mark?"
Well, you have a side picture you can give me?
Hey, can we call Mark? All
Oh
right,
shit!
one more game to go. We finally made it after 2 hours of broadcasting. The last game of the NFL, Bucks Giants. We were all aligned. We all said the Bucks. We all got it right. But there's one thing that I want to talk about. There's one thing that you and I dreamed of as children, as Pee-wee football players, as big men, as hogs, as they refer to us so lovingly. Scoring touchdowns. We
Yeah,
dreamed of it. We thought about it, and I believe it was Andrew Thomas.
yeah.
Andrew Thomas made it a reality. A big man touchdown, and not any big man touchdown, mind you. This was a lineman that rolled out into the end zone, put up a pass, and boy went up full extension,
Full extension.
grabbed the ball, pulled it down for a touchdown, and looked like he'd been doing it for years. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Let's get it for Andrew Thomas, big man of the week.
More touchdowns than Kenny Galladay and Tony on the season.
Yes, Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay have less touchdowns than Andrew Thomas, left tackle for the New York
Not even their
Giants.
start. Their second string left tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has more touchdowns than their $17 million, right? 12 or $17 million wide receiver.
17 million.
And
Yep.
their first, yeah, and their first round wide receiver draft pick.
Yep.
Now, maybe both of them have been hurt most of the year.
But
Maybe
either way,
erroneous.
erroneous.
Yeah, big man gets in the end zone, makes it worth his while, right?
Yes.
And maybe Tom Brady had a little bit of intent to that, right?
Why do you say that?
Give maybe they're in the huddle. Andrew Thomas goes, "Hey man, put one in the air for me.
No,
I
no,
want to
no.
go
Daniel
forward."
Jones. Daniel Jones.
Or Daniel Jones. Yeah, I'm sorry. So him and Daniel, they're together. He goes, "Danny boy, get me in the end zone, hide away." And Daniel Jones, being the exceptional man that he is, goes, "You got it, Andy," and just floats it. And boy, was that the highlight of that game, because the rest of that game sucked.
Yeah, it's just a terrible football game, and that's been the case for Monday Night Football. I feel like we're getting to the point now where Sunday Night Football is the premium. Sunday Night Football is
Yeah.
the better product because they're getting to the point where they can flex games, and that recently just happened to the point where they can flex games out to that 8:20 slot on Sunday evenings. There are a couple of stipulations as to which games they can pick and yada yada yada. So they had a Seahawks game slated for week 13, which is not this week but the coming week. Week 13, they had a Seahawks game slated. And they had two options that they could slate into the Sunday Night Football game. One of which was the Chiefs and the Broncos. Great rivalry, albeit Broncos, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, gotta love it. And the other option was the Bengals versus the Chargers in Cincinnati. They opted with the Chiefs versus the Broncos. I want to hear your thoughts on that, Todd.
That sounds like a money pick to me, Bob. That sounds like you get the previous Super Bowl team on prime time.
Yeah.
More people are drawn to the Chiefs than they are to the Bengals and the Chargers combined, honestly, at this point. More people want to see Patty Cake Mahomes out on the field than they want to see Burrow and Herbert.
Sure.
The traditional football fan, let me say that. Now, people like you and I who look at the game on a little bit of a different level see that the two top quarterbacks from the same draft class, who the Bengals elected to take Burrow over Herbert because a lot of things said to take Justin Herbert. A lot of sports writers, a lot of guys that are high IQ guys in football said to take Herbert. Herbert has the better upside. Herbert has the longevity. We would get to see those guys in prime time, which both of them would show out. That would be it would have been an absolute pleasure
Right.
to watch a primetime game of those two. But at the end of the day, more people are going to tune in for a Chiefs game than the Bengals will get people to tune in on primetime. That's just what it is.
Sure, and I agree with you. But I'm going to tell you why this is better for the Bengals. And it isn't because, oh, the Bengals play in prime time and they don't do well in prime time. This isn't the Andy Dalton Bengals, everyone. Let it go. I know you've been hurt. Bengals fans, I'm going to look directly at the camera at this point. I know you've been hurt, and I know you've been treated poorly in prime time. You've been led by a person that doesn't know how to excel when the moment is there. That's not us anymore, baby. That's not us anymore. This is good, Arlo. This is good for the Bengals. The fact that it wasn't flexed out an additional 7 hours is great for the Bengals. And let me tell you why. We're playing a West Coast team, ladies and gentlemen. A West Coast team that is traveling east, and they're going to be playing the Bengals at 1 o'clock Eastern time. What time is that back on the West Coast, Todd?
I believe that is 3 hours less than 1 p.m.
11 a.m.
So
11 a.m.
Yeah.
11 a.m. 3 hours earlier than they're used to playing. Excuse me, had a couple too many drinks. 3 hours earlier than they're used to playing. So that I love it. I love it. There's always been a West Coast lag when the West Coast team has to come to the East Coast. There's always something to be said about that. I think we're looking at like a high of, we're probably going to be like hovering around like 35, 40 degrees at that point. I love it. I couldn't ask for anything more than that. It is absolutely the perfect scenario in a game that is going to be, it's a huge matchup. It's a huge matchup.
It's a vital AFC matchup, right?
Massive. Yeah. In terms, not even just in terms of like, mostly in terms of wild card seeding. You have to imagine like the Bengals might not win the division, and if you can't, like if you asked me at the beginning of the year, will the Bengals win the division? I'd probably be like, yeah, probably not. It's like Browns, Baltimore, Bengals, Steelers. Like that's how I would have predicted it. Now, as we look at it, it's Baltimore, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. Like I couldn't be more wrong. But the Bengals are in a position to compete for the division, but will they win it? Yet to be determined. But a win against the Chargers would be huge. It'd be massive because not only does it promote you, but it degrades the team that's going to compete with you for a wild card slot because the Chargers aren't going to win that division. I'm sorry. Right. They started out really hot, but they're hovering right around 500 right now. So I think 6-4, if I'm not mistaken, just like the Bengals. They're the same record as the Bengals. So I just wanted to, it was big news, and the Bengals Twitter put out a fucking hilarious post today. Apparently they had something planned in case they were flexed. It was if you set the camera down on a floor and it's looking up, there's like 12 Bengals all surrounded looking down at the camera going like this, and the caption just said flexed. And it had the Sunday Night Football logo. It said Week 13 versus the Chargers, Sunday Night Football, NBC. And then they just cheaply over, like as if in Microsoft Paint, just wrote CBS 1 p.m. over it. And they put it out and said, the Bengals have been flexed to CBS at 1 p.m. Week 13 against the Chargers. It was beautiful. It was fucking hilarious.
I I gotta see this
Yeah,
now.
even if you don't like the Bengals, you should just follow their Twitter because what they have done over the last like 2 years for their social media has been fucking insane. It's been awesome. They've completely revitalized it. They've gotten in touch with the fans. They've interacted with them a lot more, and it's just the product in general on the social media is way better. It's light years ahead, and probably one of the best in the league. I'm 100% biased in that comment. So,
That's good. I like that a lot.
did you see
That's
it?
a that's yeah, that's just somebody on Snapchat, right? That's just
Right.
somebody on Snapchat doing
Exactly. It's pretty much what it is. So,
that.
all right.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Well, we've been rapping and going on for a little while now, but we do have something else to talk about.
We do.
Something major happened in the world of college football over the weekend. There were a couple of exciting games. First of which, Ohio State, Michigan State,
Holy shit.
and yeah, that's how you would describe it. Ohio State
That's all we have to talk about.
absolutely dominated Michigan State. I mean,
Yeah, hammered down.
was
CJ Stroud played fully elite.
wasn't even
That was
close.
unreal.
Wasn't even
No.
close. I mean, it was
I
49-0 at halftime, boys and girls.
yeah. And I mean those 49 that was they slowed down. Ohio State slowed down with 5 minutes left in the second
Well,
quarter.
I don't even think CJ Stroud played in the fourth quarter.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
Actually, a fun fact is that Corey McLeod, or yeah, Corey McLeod, one of their freshman quarterback, lost his red shirt because of this game.
Wow.
He elected to play and lose a red shirt so he could play in the game.
That is stupid. I'm sorry.
That's incredibly stupid. I was
That's
actually
so
talking about that
stupid.
with a coworker of mine who's an Ohio State fan, and I said, "Why do that?" He's like, "Well, he's not going to play." I said, "Yeah, but at least it gives him another year in college football. You hit the transfer portal, you go play somewhere else in 2 years."
That's
Like,
so stupid.
yeah. So now
I
he's
think
got
I don't know. There's I would love to hear about like the conversations that happened. Like, did somebody come up and talk to him and like pressure him into it or something? Like, that's just a really bad decision.
yep.
So
Now,
again, I'm gonna break this down for the layman's because I know we have family and friends that just tune in because they love us. You lose your a red shirt means that you have decided not to play this season. You're going to learn and practice behind starters, and it gives you an extra year of eligibility, meaning you can go to college for 5 years and play four. You have 4 years of eligibility for college sports. If you redshirt, it means that you're not available to play, and thus giving you an extra year of eligibility to learn, study, and move forward in the program. This person in week 12 of college football has decided that he's going to let that go.
yep.
Just fucking stupid, man. You have
Yeah.
one more
He
game. I would just be like,
right.
are you serious right now? Put the running back in it. Like, fuck you, man.
Well, they have the arguably the biggest quarterback in the history of high school football in Quinn Ewers that left high school early to come play there, who got into the game. All you say is like, "Hey Quinn, you want to go in?" Yep. Okay, I'm going to sit this out
Yeah.
because I would like to have another opportunity. Quinn Ewers doesn't give a shit,
Yeah.
right? Because he gets in, he still gets to keep he still gets to keep his red shirt. He played 9 snaps. This guy played over 50 snaps. That's where you lose your eligibility is when you play snap 51.
Yep.
And they said, "Hey, you're you're reaching this threshold. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah, get me on the field." Okay. Well,
Stupid.
now you have 3 years of eligibility instead of 4. Nice job,
From a
dumbass.
program standpoint, like, fuck that. If I'm Ryan Day, fuck that, dude. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
that.
No.
Anyway,
Nope.
massive win for the Buckeyes. I mean, the latest rankings came out, and the Buckeyes have moved up to number 2, and I couldn't
Yeah.
agree more. I couldn't agree more. I
Yeah.
mean, they deserve
Yeah.
it.
Based on the horrendous loss by Oregon to Utah. I mean, that
Awesome.
was a shit show
Awesome.
from Oregon. Yeah, great for Utah. That was a huge win for that program. That's the biggest win that program's had in probably close to a decade.
So, as a former resident of Utah, they are an adopted team of mine. It's basically I go Florida, excuse me, Bowling Green, Florida, and I can back this up for those of you that are calling bullshit on me. I went to the Bowling Green, Florida game, and I wore Bowling Green gear. God damn it! All right. Anyway, we were only down 3 at halftime. Put it out there. Anyway, Bowling Green, Florida, UC, and then Utah's right underneath that. I got to root for
The,
Utah.
the Utes.
Yeah, the Utes. I love the Utes. It's such a unique college, unique experience, unique setting for that university. The stadium is gorgeous. If you ever get the opportunity to be in Salt Lake City during football season, please, please, please go to a University of Utah football game. You will not regret it. Anyway, massive win. They played lights out. I mean, they shut down Oregon from the start. They dominated that game from start to finish, and a really, really great win for the University of Utah. A better win for the University of Cincinnati, ladies and gentlemen, because as of the recent college football playoff rankings, number 1, Georgia, number 2, Ohio State, number 3, Alabama, number 4, the University of Cincinnati literally can write their own ticket to the college football playoff at this point. Would you
The
agree?
first, yeah, absolutely. It's the first non-power five to get into the top four. And this is a very short, college football playoffs have not been around a long time, but that is a
2014 was the first year.
huge, yeah, that is a huge deal. That is a monumentous deal for the University of Cincinnati as they enter a Power Five conference. Just to have that on your
Yep.
resume
Yep.
instantly makes you much more desirable to any high 3, low 4-star recruit.
Yep.
Off the rip, right there. Oh, they got into the college football playoff. I could go play there. I could probably start there in 2 years.
Yep.
Sorry, LSU, you're shitty this year. I'm gonna go play in Clifton
Yep.
and play for Luke Fickell, who has made it very, very clear. And today he solidified that he is not leaving the University of Cincinnati.
Do tell.
So there was an article that came out on RotoWire today, and somebody from RotoWire asked Luke Fickell specifically, would you take the LSU or the USC job? He said, I will not leave the University of Cincinnati. In fact, I will not leave Ohio, which only means that he would only go to Ohio State.
Wow. Okay. Because here's something that had been tossed around, and we're gonna get off the rails in terms of the college football rankings, and then we're gonna come back to it. I promise, baby birds, I will feed you. The USC job. There had been a name that was kicked around that I was intrigued by, and I kind of think it makes sense. Brian Kelly.
Absolutely. That is the only person to me that makes sense to go out there. So then I'm assuming your next question is who goes to Notre Dame?
Correct. So Brian Kelly, the conversation basically was Brian Kelly is the best person for the USC job. He's done everything that he can do at Notre Dame. USC has more resources, more boosters, more money, better locale, better recruiting pool, etc., etc. You're not competing against Ohio State, Michigan State, Indiana, Cincinnati. You're not competing against those people in that Midwest region. You have basically the entire state of California at this point. If you're at USC, you're going to tell me you're going to go to UCLA over USC? No, you're not. You're going to tell me that you're going to go to Stanford? Well, unless you're like a 4.0 graduate of high school, you're not going to go. The best athletes are going to go to USC, right? We're all in agreement to that.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
Oregon. Some recruits will go to Oregon because it gets sold on the flash. But USC is the program. Brian Kelly makes sense. at USC. He really,
Absolutely.
really does. So who's going to fill the void at Notre Dame? Luke Fickell, it seems like a lock. Like he seems like the best filler. But
I don't think Cincinnati. Here's the thing: if that happens, that crushes the Bearcats fan base because they've already been hurt once before, right?
three
But
times,
yeah, so
D'Antonio, Kelly, and then it would be Fickell would be three.
yeah, so if Fickle were to leave to go to Ohio State, and look, Fickle's not a guy that gets out in the spotlight very often either. He is a very low key. Brian Kelly is a guy that liked to be on camera,
Yeah.
likes to be on
Yeah.
camera. He likes to be interviewed. He likes to answer questions.
Sure.
Cincinnati didn't really provide that to him, right?
Yeah.
It did in 2009. He got that opportunity in 09, and they
Got
got
that
their
ass
kicked.
beat.
Yeah, and all of a sudden,
We'll talk about that here in just a second, by the way.
I'll never leave you, Cincinnati. I love the Bearcat fans. Everybody's great.
Yeah,
Well,
fuck Brian Kelly, man. What a
yeah,
dickhead, dude.
That dangling fruit of
The
championships
Pope.
are wanted.
The Pope's
Yeah,
balls.
I mean, and he took it, right? And fiscally, that's the right move to make. But I just don't see Fickle doing that. Honestly, man, he just doesn't seem like a guy. Look, and if he does it, to me as a football fan, I have no hard feelings for him on doing that. But where
At
I
the
get
same
frustrated
time,
is that
yeah, go ahead.
is that you can't get on an interview in November, December. You get to the college football playoffs. You're in it. It's the first time in program history that you're going to be eligible for the national championship.
Right.
You can't take your program there, and you can't build the program that he's built, which is arguably becoming a dynasty at this point because now they're getting 4-star recruits.
Yeah.
And just give that to somebody else. There's not another coach right now that's within 3 years of being eligible to make that program sustainable.
I'm curious. I want to see his contract. Because I agree with you. I think, what do you have to lose? Like, what?
Like to leave Cincinnati?
All right. So, this is as August 25th. So, over a year ago, they finalized a contract extension through 2026 to make him paid $3.4 million annually. That's it.
Yeah, that's 33% of what he would make in Notre Dame.
Let's look at the highest.
10,
So 3.4 annually. Let's look at the highest paid coaches in college football. This article came out 2 days ago. Okay, pretty relevant. All right. At number 10, Gary Patterson, 6.1 million, TCU, fired. Ryan Day, 6.6 million, Ohio State. Now, again, he was the incumbent temporary coach after Urban Meyer left. That's why his salary is there. Guaranteed Ryan Day will make more money once his extension comes up. Kirby Smart at number 8, 7.1 million. Dan Mullen. Huh. Whoa. That news break? Did that break?
Wait, he's fired?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he okay. I didn't see that. I did not see that had broken. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
He gone.
Okay.
He gone. 2 days ago, he gone.
Yeah. Thank God. I can't. Oh, we have so many.
We
have so many options.
They announced it right before Monday Night Football. It just felt very odd.
We have so many options too. That's the best part. All right. Number 5, Lincoln Riley, 7.6. So Luke Fickell has less than half of the amount of money than a bunch of coaches that aren't even going to be in the college football playoff.
Right.
The Bearcats just extended his salary about a year ago. Now they're in the playoff. If I'm Luke Fickle, I'm like, look, let's renegotiate, and I'll stay for another. Sign me out to 2030, but pay me $7 million a year.
I don't think that. I mean, look, now that you're in a Power Five conference, I don't think that 7 million is unreasonable,
No,
right? I
no,
think
no, no. Yeah,
right now it's
even do
unreasonable.
this. Even do this. Pay me $8 million, but don't start it until we get to the Big 12.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility,
No,
honestly.
I don't
And
either.
I think he would be stupid to leave before they get to the Big 12. I really do
Yeah.
believe that because I think that them entering that conference and the way that things are kind of shifting around
TV
and losing
deals.
yeah, losing Texas, fuck Texas. They suck. They're going to be bad for a
Oklahoma's
while.
gone.
Yeah. Look, and that's perfect for Cincinnati, right? Oklahoma
Yeah, but
leaves.
does it take any validity away from the Big 12?
Absolutely not. Baylor's still good. Oklahoma State's still good.
Fair.
TCU's consistently good.
No, they're
Um,
not. TCU is not consistently good. I
this is
think it's
this
I
is the
think it's
first bad year they've had in 4 or
I
5
think it's
years.
Baylor and Oklahoma State, and that's it. I think Oklahoma State, and Baylor. That's pretty much it. Iowa State, maybe.
Well, they're bringing in 3 schools that could be top 25, top 15, or
Sure.
top 25 teams. So
They're
I
bringing
think the
in.
Big
What
12,
are they bringing in? Houston?
SMU, UC,
No, is it SMU? I thought no, it's
or
BYU.
BYU. I'm sorry, BYU.
BYU and
Yes,
UC. BYU
yeah.
is a
So
great addition. It's a great.
yeah,
It had to happen. It had to
yeah,
happen. It's great for basketball. It's great for football. It's perfect. Mormons
yeah.
love basketball. I'm just telling you. Church basketball. Everybody's heard church basketball. That started from Mormons. I'm just throwing it out. I'm just telling you. If you liked church basketball, think Mormon. That's all I'm saying.
So they get the opportunity to. I think you could look at it one or two ways. You could look at it as Oklahoma and Texas leave, the Big 12 goes down, or the other side of that is you bring in 3 schools. Houston specifically is a school that I think has as starting to meet their threshold, especially if we're talking basketball, especially in college basketball. They were top 5 2 years ago in college basketball and made it to the Elite Eight in the American
Yeah.
Conference. So uh, the Big 12 is going to be different. It's not now. I'm not going to compare them to the SEC. We're not here for that. I'm just saying that as a Power Five conference, yes, it's going to be restructured. Yes, it's going to take time, but it's not going to be the Pac-12. The Pac-12 sucks. It's terrible to watch teams on the West Coast. It's boring. Arizona's not even good at basketball anymore because Sean Miller fucked that program. So what's what's relevant out there, right? So
Right.
Brian Kelly going to USC, yeah, that makes him relevant again. UCLA just got beat by 25 points against Gonzaga last night in college basketball. That's 1-2, right? That's 1-2 that played each other. They got beat by 25. Chet Holmgren almost had a triple double. He's 7 foot, 195 pounds.
Right.
That's not conducive to the Pac-12. It just doesn't work. So the Big 12 only has room to grow, and you make the Pac-12 smaller and smaller and less relevant. And the West Coast can have their you know 8 p.m. games that are at 11:30 for us. They can have those games. I don't want to watch Oregon State and Oregon. I don't. But I do want to watch UC and Houston play in prime time at a neutral site where the scores are going to be in the high 50s. That's what I want to watch. I don't want to watch UCLA score 14 points against USC when they score 65 when they become relevant again in 3 or 4 years. That sucks. But I do want to watch an 11 o'clock game or 10 o'clock game where UC plays BYU
Yeah.
in Utah.
That'd be
That's
awesome.
fucking awesome.
It'd
That
be
would be
sick.
great.
It'd be so
Yeah.
sick.
So I think the Big 12 has its time. It's just going to, college football fans are just going to have, college sports fans in general are just going to have to be patient. Also, UC's baseball program gets immensely better being in the Big 12 for what it's worth.
So we alluded to it earlier. One thing that I didn't know this final. I knew it was coming eventually, but I didn't know it had actually happened. It was the firing of Dan Mullen, a Florida man, obviously
Florida.
offensive coordinator underneath Urban Meyer at the University of Florida. Then he went to be a head coach at Mississippi State. He recruited Tim Tebow. He recruited Dak Prescott. largely considered a quarterback whisperer by many. Um, didn't really have that success at the University of Florida. That being said, took Florida from a place of like Outback Bowls to New Year's Day Bowls, right? Took Florida from a point of like maybe you're going to be in the top 25 to like preseason top 10. So took the program up a step, but couldn't really get the program to the place where they wanted to be.
Sure.
There are odds out on who is to be the new Florida Gators head coach, which, I mean, Florida isn't like. Florida's not. I understand as a Gators fan. I know. I think I even have a Gators flag literally sitting right here. I have a problem. Um, so I know that we're not Ohio State. I know that we're not Notre Dame. I know that we're not USC. I know that we're not Alabama. But I would venture to say that like Florida is probably one of the top 20 most desirable football coaching jobs in the country. Would you agree?
Yeah, I actually was going to say 15.
Okay, so we're relatively in the same spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, who do you think is the number one odds favorite to be the head coach of the Florida Gators?
Lane Kiffin.
Yes.
That makes the most sense.
Lane Kiffin is the number one odds favorite. Who do you think is also tied with Lane Kiffin?
Is it Ogeron?
It is not. He's not even relatively.
That's good. I just get concerned.
He's not on here for Vegas odds. Tim Tebow is. So just to put it that way.
Jesus Christ.
Tim Tebow is a plus 25,000 odds. You bet $1, you win $25,000 if Tim Tebow is the head coach of the Gators.
Who you got for me?
Billy Napier, head coach of the University of Louisiana, Raging Cajuns.
Who has been a top 25 program as of late?
My heart kind of goes there over Lane Kiffin.
Absolutely. Lane Kiffin's a fucking dumpster fire, dude.
I agree.
He is always a
great recruiter.
He is one of the best recruiters college football has ever seen.
Yes.
I don't want to take that away from him.
Yes.
The dude can get anybody to come to whatever school he's at. Morally right or wrong, he can do it.
My guy that I want is fifth on the list. Who do you think is third?
Oh shit, dude, I have no idea.
ACC, also in the state of Florida. Mario Cristobal.
That makes no sense.
Coach of the Hurricanes.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I mean, it's a cheap
nothing.
ploy.
Yeah, you want nothing to do with any coach from the ACC, right?
I don't want Mario Cristobal.
Zero.
I don't want number 4 either. This is a Big Ten coach who's been rumored to be interested in the LSU job. I don't want him either. James Franklin out of Penn State. Nope.
Oh.
I have no interest in James Franklin. Thank you. I've seen what you've done with him.
He's actually a bad recruiter. Like
exactly,
he's a guy that hurts. He's a guy that hurts a program wherever he goes.
Yep.
Penn State has historically always had a good college quarterback.
Next,
they do not have that. They haven't had that in a while.
Fifth best odds, plus 800. This is the guy I want. He's an SEC man. He's proven he can win. And you love him.
Oh, no. You want him? You want Stoops?
Oh, I want Mark Stoops so bad. Can you imagine what Mark Stoops could do with the resources at the University of Florida? It would be dangerous.
Yeah, they'd be a top 5 program. He's actually somebody that got funding from boosters outside of basketball in Kentucky.
Yes.
which is almost unheard of.
He's
Like legitimate. He's number one. He's a super nice guy.
he's a great recruiter. He's a
Yeah.
swell human being. He knows football backwards and forwards. He gets a defense that plays. What did we play with when we were children, Todd? With an attitude. That's what they played with, and that's, I mean, his defensive schemes that he create offense, and it's
So
I want
the thing about Stoops that he recruits the best are edge rushers.
yes,
Um,
Josh Allen,
he is, yeah, Bud Dupree.
Bud Dupree, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, but look at
Also,
the history of the University of Florida. That's Javon Curse, the freak. I mean,
yeah,
Carlos Dunlap. I mean
yeah,
that is Florida football. He's
yeah.
built
So
for this job.
Stoops also loves himself a power running back. Chris Rodriguez Jr. is one of the leading rushers in college
Emmett
football.
Smith, Fred Taylor. I
Yeah.
mean, we can sit here and go on
So
and on.
I certainly understand it. So
It makes
I don't
so
think
much sense. It's
yeah,
stupid.
I don't think he'd leave Kentucky though. I really don't. Not right now.
Todd,
I don't.
let's
I'm
see
not.
what
No,
his
I'm not
salary
saying.
is.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that as a Kentucky fan. I'm saying that as if somebody is going to go to Florida right now, and it's not somebody who is already in the SEC. That's just how I see it. I don't see an SEC coach leaving to go to Florida.
He makes $5.25 million.
Yeah, which is 3 million more than the two previous coaches that coached before him. And regardless of inflation, he gets paid well for a Kentucky football.
He does. He gets paid really well for a Kentucky football coach.
But Stoops also brought a lot more experience in the last five.
His
football
contract
coaches
runs to
Kentucky's
the next 4 years. If you're going to tell me the University of Florida backs up to him and says, "Hey, we're going to pay you $8 million a year," you don't think he leaves?
had. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. From my perspective of it, I don't see him leaving to go to Florida. I just don't.
Where
see
would
an
he
SEC
go?
Coach.
Because Kentucky's not. That's not where he's going to be. Like
No.
that's.
No, he's not. He's not going to stay. He's not going to stay.
So
in
where would
Kentucky.
he leave
But
for? What are schools that he would leave for?
it would have to.
Alabama, Oklahoma.
Well, yeah, like Oklahoma, Georgia.
Why Georgia and not Florida?
I think that Georgia has a better perception with the public eye than Florida does. You've said it yourself several times that you are a man of the degenerates. Florida is a university outside of Miami University.
You're talking about
Florida,
like players?
yes, players.
That was
specifically the
I
players.
think that time has come and gone though.
I don't know. I don't see it that way with some of the players I've seen play for Florida.
Like, okay, so anyone that has not been recruited by Urban Meyer, who?
They're that freshman quarterback, the one that does backflips.
Because he does backflips?
No, not because he does backflips, because he has a shitty attitude. Anytime he gets in front of a microphone, he only talks about himself. He doesn't talk about his team.
Well,
he's just a selfish 18 or 19-year-old kid. So my point being,
Kirby. Let's put it this way: Kirby Smart is fucking dying in Athens, Georgia.
Sure, right.
Next,
and look, maybe he does go to Florida. I just don't see it happening right now.
Okay,
I just don't see that being a next year move.
Here's what I don't see happening. I don't see the University of Florida investing in a Will McElwain, or excuse me, or a Muschamp, or this, that, or the other. When they hit Dan Mullen, they thought they had their guy.
Sure.
When they went and got Dan Mullen, I thought they had their guy. I was like, this is perfect. He's an urban guy. He knows offense. We're going to go back to the old days. This is going to be perfect. Turns out he can't recruit. They need a recruiter and an offensive mind. So maybe it is fucking Lane Kiffin. Maybe fucking Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. So look, I think that a coach that Florida hires right now isn't a long-term coach either. This is a 3 to 5 year deal.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, Lane. I mean, if we're talking specifically on Lane Kiffin, he's not a long term coach anywhere ever. He'll never be a long term
Yeah,
coach
but
because he puts
why
his foot in
why
his
would
mouth.
Florida only want like a 3 to 5 year deal?
Well, if we're talking Lane Kiffin's, I'm speaking on Lane Kiffin, right? If they
Sure,
hire him, you get a guy that can rebuild the program, who, whether he gets fired or quits or goes to the NFL or whatever he does, anybody can come in and inherit that program and not be in a Dan Mullen inherited program, right? Where
sure,
you're not getting the best guys out of your state. Because that's what's happening. Florida is losing the best guys out of their state to go to Georgia and Alabama, which
yeah,
should never, ever be the case.
right,
Because you're not losing them to they're not going to Miami or Florida State
right.
anymore.
Which used
The
that
guy,
that was the in the early 2000s. That was it. It was Florida, Florida
absolutely.
State, Miami. You weren't going
Yeah.
to other places
No,
like
you never
Ohio
left the state
State.
of Florida. Yeah, you didn't have to because you got your money in one of those three schools. So now the problem is that these top Florida talents, especially on the north side of Florida, are very quick to go to Alabama,
Georgia.
right? They're very quick to go to Georgia.
Yeah,
They're even quick to go to Mississippi. They want to get out of Florida because maybe it is Dan Mullen's fault. Maybe he's not recruiting well within the state and he's
right.
trying to branch out and see, bring guys maybe from the north to come to the south, because the desire, if you're an Ohio guy and you're not going to Ohio State, you want to play as far south in the SEC as you can because that's where your money's going to get made, right? So Dan Mullen does a nice job of recruiting within like our tri-state area specifically. He gets the best guys out of Northern Kentucky normally. He gets the best guys out of Southeast Indiana, and he gets some of the better guys from Central and Northern Ohio. He does well in those areas. So, but Lane Kiffin, what he's done historically in any program that he goes to is that he gets the best players from his state. So you give Lane Kiffin is a 5 year guy at the max anywhere he goes because he just puts his foot in his mouth or makes a public mistake. But if you get 5 years of him recruiting in your state and rebuilding the program and bringing other coaches that understand his schemes and that he can develop to be good recruiters, then maybe a Stoops does come in. Maybe that does only take 3 years. Because I'm telling you, Stoops doesn't have his staff isn't deep enough to recruit at the level that Florida requires. Stoops does. Stoops has that ability, but that's not recruiting is not a one man job.
Sure.
Recruiting is a
Yeah.
job that's done by
Yeah.
really
Multiple.
five to
Yeah.
seven people,
Yeah. I was gonna
and
say upwards
also
of 10 people. Yeah.
yeah, and your boosters, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mostly them. Yeah.
yeah, so Dan Mullen failed as a Florida booster coach. That's where he failed.
Sure.
The money is not coming from his boosters, and it's clear. I mean, if you like watching Florida when they played Kentucky, that is a completely different. I'll call it organization. It's a completely different organization.
It is.
Even the fan base feels different.
Yep.
There's not and even in basketball.
Well, and
And
it's not like the biggest difference is like I don't walk into a game like, yeah, we're gonna kick the shit out of this team.
every game is a close game now.
It is. Every single fucking game is a close game. Like I feel like a Bengals fan when I'm talking about like Florida used to be my like my like my
That's your blanket,
my weighted blanket. They used to
right?
make me feel good on Saturdays going into Sunday because they would just like go in and like kick like, oh yep, we got Vandy, yep, kicking the shit out of them. Oh, we got
Yeah.
Missouri,
When
yep, beating that ass. Not anymore. We got
not
South
the case anymore.
Carolina, yep, gonna fuck them up. Nope.
It's not the case. College football is not. Honestly, man, it's just Ohio State laying the hammer on Michigan State is kind of it's an oddity for this season. There's just not, unless you're Georgia, you're not just kicking the shit out of everybody
Right.
anymore. Even Alabama does it. Alabama in my opinion, squeaked by Arkansas.
Yeah.
There was one play that changed the trajectory of that game, and it was the fucking piss missile that Bryce Young threw in the back of the end zone to that 7 foot tall tight end Alabama has that could jump over the field goal posts. And when that guy caught that ball and got 1 foot in, I was like, well, that game's over. There's no way you come back from that because nobody else can catch that ball except for this guy. Their tight end's like 6'7" or 6'8". It's unreal. The guy should be a power forward. He should be a tight end in the NFL or in whatever. The tight end in college football. If I'm Bryce Young, I'm so happy about that. But yeah, dude, it's good. I think it's good for Florida that Dan Mullen left.
Yeah. Well, he was pushed out.
Well, yeah, was was politely asked to leave.
forcibly removed. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, all in all, honestly, the University of Cincinnati is in a position to where they win out, they're in. They can write their own ticket at this point. Um, there's zero reason why they should be punished. Michigan versus Ohio State is going to decide who's going to be getting in from the Big Ten. There could be an additional team that's admitted in if Alabama loses as well. I don't know who that fourth team. Maybe it's Notre Dame. Maybe it'll be Notre Dame.
I'll tell you who it is not. This is not Oklahoma.
No, could be Oklahoma State.
It could be.
Could be
Now,
Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, or Oklahoma State at this point. So let's say Michigan wins and Ohio State is Michigan wins on Saturday. We've got Georgia, Ohio, Michigan, and Cincinnati. Let's say Georgia beats Alabama. So we got Georgia, Michigan, and Cincinnati. We got one more slot to fill. If
it's
Notre
Notre
Dame,
Dame.
yeah, it's Notre Dame. At that point, it's Notre Dame, which would be a crazy conglomerate of the four college football playoff teams. At the beginning of the season, if you had asked me if any of those teams would be the ones that get in, I would say maybe Georgia.
Yeah, honestly, Georgia. Truthfully, Georgia was good. They were a top 5 program,
right.
but they were not. I mean, they are an absolute shit brickhouse of a college football program.
Yeah.
It's insane to watch them play. It is not. It's almost not fun because they just beat the shit out of everybody.
They do. So we'll see how it plays out. If you've made it this long, you're a fucking rock star. We're 2 hours and 40 minutes into this broadcast, but honestly, I've loved the interaction. I've loved doing something being in this COVID isolation. So, Todd, tip my hat to you, sir.
You just caught the 2 most long-winded motherfuckers in the history of time talking to each other on a sports podcast.
It's true. I appreciate everyone that has hung with us at all throughout this journey of Line to Gain, and I love you guys, and I'm thankful for all of you. Todd, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that to you guys that were really, really close when we were really little are now closer now. And I hope that you have a lovely, awesome day with your beautiful family and a happy Thanksgiving. And
thank you, sir. And I will be providing you some sort of heartfelt, loving message tomorrow because I feel I'm very sorry that you don't get to spend the specific day with your